I sense some nervousness
A little bit.
I sense some nervousness.
It's a tenuous game. I already said the hardest game of the season.
They nervous up there in the Northwest fans. They nervous. Fans want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. Give yourself a round of applause. This is week 266 of this iteration of the Voice of the Fans podcast. Want to thank my man. I got Mr. Nervous Cleavon up there. I say cautious Cleavon right now. Cautious Cleavon. Let's give him a round for joining us. And he's over there biting his nails about this game this weekend that they got coming up. Where you guys going to this weekend?
Corvallis, Oregon.
Ooh, he's nervous, fans. He's nervous right now. Once again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. This is week 266 of this iteration of the Voice of the Fans podcast, and we got a lot to talk about this week. We're going to talk about the NFL action from week 9. We're going to make our predictions for week 10. We're going to talk about the Heisman Trophy race. We're going to talk about some boxing matches at, final weeks of the year, fans. Boxing is trying to make a strong push so they don't get forgot about and they stay on top of mind. They're trying to make a strong push for your dollars, fan. So we're going to have some boxing conversation. We're also going to get into this week in history, as always. Going to give you guys some little education of things that happened back in the day, Cleavon. Cleavon, with it being November 15th, week 15th. 2023, week 266 of the Voice of the Fans podcast, Cleavon. When you think of the number 15, who come to your mind first, sir? Or who were that number the best?
Cam, I'm gonna stick with my dude, man. Carmelo Anthony. For both answers.
I guess you never heard of a Super Bowl champion named Jeff Hostetler, huh?
Nope. Actually, I have heard of him, but it shouldn't be uttered in the same breath as Carmelo Anthony.
What about the two-time college football champion Tommy Frazier? Have you heard of him?
I have heard of T. Frazier. And now that I'm thinking about it, our guy in Kansas City does wear number 15. Two-time Super Bowl champ.
Super Bowl champ.
Given that he has you know how I like the rings. 2 rings. I digress, fans. It actually is Patrick Mahomes who has worn it the best.
There you go. Cleavon, with it being week 266 of this iteration of Voice of the Fans podcast, when you think of the number 66, who come to your mind first, or who wore that number the best?
Man, I think it's got to be Nitschke on both accounts, right?
Ray Nitschke is a guy I didn't think you would think about Ray Nitschke. It'd be considering how you like to play puff ball around town. You don't like the hard hitting. You don't like the clash of the titans. Somebody hit you so hard your teeth shatter. I didn't think you would think about Nitschke, but I was thinking Mario Lemieux. Super Mario probably wore that number the best, right?
I feel that. I do feel he is one of the top 5 greatest hockey players of all time. So perhaps that's an argument for sure. Yeah.
All right, fans. Again, to let us know, fans, by jumping in the chat, who do you think wore number 15 the best? Who do you think wore number 66 the best? When you jump in the chat, go ahead and hit that like button, fans. It doesn't cost you a thing. It doesn't cost you $1. It doesn't cost you any time. It barely costs you any effort. Hit that like button, please. It helps us with the algorithm. Go ahead and leave a comment. When you leave a comment, tell us where you're watching the show from. How you watching the show? Well, excuse me, you could be listening to the show on Spotify, on Tuned In, Apple Podcasts, on iHeartRadio, any one of those podcast platforms. You could be watching the show. Let us know how you're consuming the show. How are you consuming the show today? Just give us that in the chat. Hit that like button. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your effort. And as always, in return, we're going to keep giving you great content like we do each and every week. This is week 266. Because I think in this time, Cleavon, we may have missed one show this year. I know because I was traveling. One show this year. I'm not sure how by count how many shows have we missed, Cleavon, this calendar year. I know one show because I was traveling after the fight. That's the one show we missed. But again, we did that show. We talked about it on Sunday because we didn't do the Wednesday show.
Less than 3, Cam, for sure. Less than 3.
Well, I appreciate your consistency. Do a round of applause. Appreciate the consistency, fans. And again, let us know how you're consuming the show. We appreciate you. We appreciate you for being a part of the show, and we thank you, Mr. Cleveland. This weekend, another wild weekend in NFL. Had some impressive wins, had some terrible losses. I'm gonna start with the losses. I'm gonna start with the terrible losses we had. The terrible losses on Monday Night Football happened to be. And I told you, the trajectory on the Buffalo Bills has been dropping. I told you that since midseason last year. I was high. There was about a 3 to 4 week span where I was high on Josh Allen. I was neglecting to give him any credit his first 3 or 4 years in the league. I was neglected to give him any credit for what he was doing. And I think he liked to play hero ball if you can play hero ball in the NFL. But last year there was a time, there was about a 3 to 4, 5 week span where I had to give him credit for playing some great football. That was probably week 3 to week 8. If off the top of my head, week 3 to week 8, somewhere in there, Josh Allen was playing good football. And had me scared as a Miami Dolphin fan in AFC East. Had me a little concerned about what they can do. And that was in Josh Allen's career. There was only that 5 week span where I was willing to say that this dude was a type flight quarterback. And since then, his trajectory has been dropping, in my opinion, Cleveland. And this season, it hasn't been much better, although they did beat my Dolphins earlier in the season. Monday night proves why I have no confidence in the Buffalo Bills. They lose to the Denver Broncos, quarterback by your guy, Russell Wilson. And just it's not all on Josh Allen, but he's a big part of the reason they lost. And it wasn't although he wasn't on the field when they had 12 men on the field for the missed field goal. But it was just it shouldn't even been that close. The game should not have even been that close. And if you want to think about it, they gotta when your guy Cook, the younger brother Cook, drops the ball and it bounces right back into his hands, and he scampers down the road for 40 yards. Like, they shouldn't even have those points. The Buffalo Bills stink. Like another team in it. I don't even know how much time I'm gonna give them today on the show. There's about another team in the AFC East. They stink as well. And I'm not talking about the New England Patriots. I'm not talking about them. They might not get any more. That might be the for the Patriots on this show. But the Bills losing to the Broncos, Cleveland, that was a terrible loss. The Ravens losing to the Browns, a terrible loss. And it wasn't so much a terrible loss the way the New York Giants lost to the Cowboys. That was an expected loss. But the beatdown that they suffered was just a humiliating beatdown, considering they lost to them 40-0 at the beginning of the season. You thought this team would come back with a little bit more spunk, a little bit more fire in the belly, a little bit attitude, a little bit of chip on the shoulder. And they just took another smacking around by the Dallas Cowboys. Cleveland, what was your worst losses this week?
Oh, Cam, you didn't mention the two worst losses. I was kind of surprised. I mean, you went on with your soliloquy there for quite some time.
Well, I told you, I was just giving you my 3 worst losses.
Okay, but Cam, can I finish?
Please.
First of all, I was quite surprised that you had turned on the Bill Belichick Patriots like that. That was kind of weird. As much as you admire coaching, so that was kind of odd. The worst loss, without question, was the Cincinnati Bengals losing to the Houston Texans. Tyler Boyd dropped a go-ahead touchdown in the end zone. That's huge. Yeah, I'm so sorry for you. I mean, I know you tried, but no, that was monumental. That changes the course of history. Drops like that.
I'll explain that one. But
that's number one. Number two, Jacksonville Jaguars coming out here 6-2 kind of swaggering a little bit, like, yeah, we're down. We're down to throw some punches with the big bad boys.
That wasn't the worst loss. That wasn't a worst loss.
Yeah, it was 34-3. But when the 49ers came
Who was that? Who they lose to? Who they lose to?
Trent Williams and a healthy Deebo Samuel. Ooh. Wow.
Okay, hold that thought. Hold that thought right there, because we're gonna circle back to that game. We're gonna circle. In fact, there's no even. Let me ask you this right now. How do you feel about Brock Purdy today?
I feel he's great when he has Trent Williams and Deebo Samuel in the lineup.
Oh, here you go. Here you go. Yeah, he has to have some assistance. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, both of those players. Let's not get it all twisted up. Both of those
have some. You see how you do? You see how you do? He has to. 2 weeks ago, you was all on his side. Now you're telling me
I was forced into it. It was actually 4 weeks ago.
Oh, look at it.
Before the 3-game loss, and I'm so sorry. Then they traded for Nick Bosa's college roommate Chase Young in the during the bye week. Oh wow, the 1 and 2 pick of the draft, really? Wow, they're wreaking havoc over there. I'm concerned as a Seahawks fan for sure.
So wait, are you telling me that Brock Purdy cannot be any good unless he has a 1 and 2 pick on the defensive line? And
No. I said Trent Williams, his left tackle,
right,
and Deebo Samuel, his do everything receiver. Yeah, he is very ordinary without those 2 players in the
lineup. Again, that wasn't a worst loss. That was an expected loss by the Jacksonville
Jaguars. No, 34-3.
That was an expected
loss. Everyone else expected.
You did not have Jacksonville beating San Francisco. You did not have Jacksonville
at any point of
you didn't have Jacksonville beating San Francisco. So stop it. That was again.
I didn't, but I also didn't have them losing 34 to.
You did not even take the picks. You did not even take Jacksonville in the picks. So cut it out.
Sorry.
No, I'm not going for that.
Totally missing the point. It's not the loss, it's how they got beat.
Again,
the
San Francisco 49ers are potential Super Bowl champs. And actually, I got 2. What I got on it?
Oh, you got 2 elbows. They're not going to go to the Super Bowl, but they're going to
be they're Super Bowl in the Super Bowl contention. Jacksonville is not.
6-2. I mean, they were tied for the best record in the AFC, right?
Did you have them as AFC? Did you have them contending for AFC championship, AFC supremacy?
Your record is who you are, right?
I don't think you had them. I don't think you had Jacksonville Jaguars in your supremacy ranking all season long.
That was in July.
Each week we do a supremacy ranking. You didn't have Jacksonville in your supremacy ranking all season long.
No, not just yet. No,
we're in week 10. So if they've never been in your supremacy rankings, how do you consider that a worse loss?
Cam, 34-17. Okay.
Smackdown.
34-21, they got beat. 34-3.
Smackdown.
Ooh.
Smackdown.
Yeah, that's a horrible loss.
That's who the Jacksonville Jaguars are, who we thought they were. Nobody. Okay.
Okay. Well, see.
The reason I didn't have the Houston Texans over the Cincinnati Bengals, which was an impressive win. I have the Texans as an impressive win. That was an impressive win. CJ Stroud shows out again. CJ Stroud shows, hey man, you got to give that credit. You got to give that guy some credit. He pulls another game out, an impressive game. We're going to get to the injury of Deshaun Watson, but Deshaun Watson plays possibly his best half of the last 3 seasons. And talking about my Dolphins, boy, did they dodge a bullet with not going for Deshaun Watson a few seasons ago. And this guy is ever often injured, but we'll get to him a little later. But I thought the Browns had the most impressive win by beating their division rival in the Ravens. And then obviously we touched on it a moment ago, but the Broncos, Russell Wilson doing Russell Wilson things, leading the Broncos to their Monday night victory against the Buffalo Bills. I mean, that pass, was that quintessential Russell Wilson, the pass he threw to Sutton
Oh, hey, man.
Falling out of bounds?
You need to cut that out all jumping back on the Russell Wilson bandwagon.
I'm not jumping on the bandwagon. I'm just saying that was a hell of a game that he played.
That means that he was a good quarterback once upon a time. I think he forgot that.
You think I forgot that?
Yeah. Well, you've been talking about Russ this whole season?
The way I've been talking about Russ. Yeah. No, you probably don't want to remember that. That's what it sounded like to me. You don't want to remember.
I would gladly have Russ underneath that understanding of who he is and what he is right now.
Oh boy,
the quarterback that we have for the Seahawks right
now. Wait, hold on. You was happy and kicking your heels up last season without Russ. Now you talking about you want Russ back? Now you talking about you want Russell back? That's funny. Now, fans, that is funny. How this guy continues to throw his guy, Geno Smith, under the bus. That is hysterical. So all of a sudden now, you want Russell back? Did you call Sierra? Maybe you could have Peter John call Sierra. Maybe you can make that happen. What do you think?
We chatted about it already. It's cool. We'll see what happens.
You guys call Sierra? You already put in a phone call? Or you talk to Pete and John? Which one?
I talked to Sierra first. I know Pete and John is going to take a little bit of,
convincing. Well, Pete said no. She's cool in Denver. She didn't want to go back to Seattle.
Well, Denver's gonna have snow. Seattle's just got some sprinkle. But
but Denver's. It's easier to get in and out of Denver. The airport might.
Okay, well, we still in conversation, man. I don't want to leak too much to the fans right now until I got some concrete. So.
Okay, well, it's interesting that you're even having this discussion. I find it hysterical that you're even having this discussion, calling Sierra at 11:30 at night, talking about what you're doing, sending her text messages. I find that kind of funny. Cleveland. So my question was, has Russ had a rebirth? And obviously you're claiming yes, because you got your text message Sierra in the middle of the night. Josh Allen, is he frustrating? Does it continue to frustrate you? What are your thoughts as a spectator, unbiased spectator of the Josh Allen up and down roller coaster that the Bills are on?
Oh man, he's not frustrating whatsoever, man. He has his moments. Everybody knows he has a rocket cannon arm. Everybody knows that when he gets on the move, he can't really tackle that guy. So he has all of the elements of being a great quarterback. Unfortunately, his decision-making skills have not quite caught up yet. And he still feels like, he has that Brett Favre syndrome. My arm is just stronger than, the situation. And sometimes it's just not.
Have you seen
that out yet?
Have you seen the tape of Tom Brady talking to him and trying to convince him, like, maybe you don't need to make the big throw all the time. Maybe you need to take the receiver who was less open or who was kind of wide open and is going to give you less yards than get the big play all the time. Have you seen that clip that's floating around?
Haven't seen that clip, but did hear something on talk radio today where they were talking about why Byron Leftwich was so enamored with Tom Brady. He's like, because he's always willing to take the boring 100% of the time. If that dude is open 6 yards down the field, I'm throwing it to him. As opposed to that dude might get open 20 yards down the field, and my arm is strong enough to get it there. Tom will just take the 6.
That's moving the chain
all the time.
Doesn't
care what you think about him. Doesn't care how it looks. It's just 6 yards down the field.
It's moving the
Josh Allen. Josh Allen's throws depend on what the score is, doesn't it?
I don't know what that dude's thinking about. Don't get me to think of it. Trying to decide.
But that's. I'm asking you this question. He doesn't throw the same throw as when they're up 27-10. But when they're down,
he does. He does.
And that's a change, right?
He does. That's like you guys just keep shooting 3-pointers. They're up 15. They just keep shooting threes, and soon enough they're gonna miss. He keep going for the big throw, and so when they're up 21, you have a chance in that game because Josh is gonna make the big play.
You got it wrong. You have it wrong. When they're up 21, he looks smooth and composed and he will check it down and he'll hand it off. And, the tight end at 7 yards. Yeah. But when they're down by 10, oh, no, that dude. Oh, Gabe can get this. Oh, Stephon can get this. He gets off the grid, man.
Hey, that Dorsey is talking to him. I mean, maybe it's Dorsey, and that's why they scapegoated Dorsey and decided let him out the back door because the way Dorsey was talking to him.
Okay.
I mean, maybe that was Dorsey saying, "Hey,
that was all Dorsey telling him to throw the ball all over the place for no reason."
I don't know why they scapegoat him. And now you got Diggs. You got Diggs' brother tweeting about him saying Stephon needs to get out of there. Boy, you mentioned it weeks ago, Cleveland. I don't know why you're trying to defend these guys. You mentioned it weeks ago. That window has slammed shut.
No. I said that after they lost to Cincinnati last year. That window was slammed shut.
Okay, so even more to my point.
I mean, no, it hasn't opened. It's been more of a precipitous drop to where they're going to get. Now you have to question if they're even going to make the playoffs. The Super Bowl is not even remotely a thing. Can you make the playoffs?
Yeah, man. Yeah, enough talk about them bums in Buffalo. Cleveland, what's the better story this season? Is it Josh Dobbs or CJ Stroud?
CJ Stroud
is a better story. The rookie is the number 2 pick of the draft is better than. I mean, where was Josh Dobbs drafted? The journeyman who keeps going from team to team and getting wins. I'm not sure. I'm legitimately asking a question. I don't have a thought either way. But what is a bigger? I think it might be Josh Dobbs. What is the bigger story?
For me, it's CJ Stroud.
So you predicted this. That might be some of the reason why.
No. It's because he's only thrown 2 interceptions in 10 games. He's doing this for the first time in his entire life on the biggest stage there is, and he just keeps producing. Josh Dobbs has had some opportunities. So sorry, those Arizona Cardinals with him at the quarterback position won 1 game. He gets to a team with a few more weapons and playing a few other teams that are not particularly strong. He's been able to pull out some victories. That's cool. We'll see how this goes down the stretch. And he's done it in a very short period of time. I mean, let's not fool ourselves. He came in like, oh, hey, guys, yeah, I'm going to get this week to kind of try and sort of learn the playbook. And it's like, oh, that dude got wet. Oh, I don't even know where my helmet is. Where do you guys keep the helmets? Like, he was thrust into like emergency, got the victory, came back the next week, had a few more days to kind of learn like 10 more plays, got that victory. That's cool, man. And that's a great story, but it's not as great a story as you found the franchise quarterback and you're making Carolina look so ridiculous in all of their scouting and all of their front office stuff. Because when you miss this disproportionately between the 1 and the 2, that gets everyone fired. Everyone.
So this isn't Ryan Leaf and Peyton Manning.
Yeah, it is.
This is Ryan Leaf and Peyton Manning.
The only difference is that was in reverse. They just didn't get the pick. It's not like they had a chance to pick.
Whoa! You're calling Young a bust?
You can tell that dude is not ready to play NFL football.
So did that mean so you're calling Young a bust in the NFL?
Bryce Young he's a bust. You can tell. He's a product of his environment, and he's too small to play at this next level.
So if the Carolina Panthers took CJ Stroud, they'd be 5-5 or 5-4.
Not necessarily, but they would have a better quarterback. So that's not even a question anymore, is it?
I mean, some of it has to do with the environment and situations, right?
Yeah. Like Bryce Young played with Heisman Trophy winners around him, guys like Waddle and Williams and Devontae Smith and Jahmyr Gibbs and Najee Harris and offensive linemen that all went pro. 7 players on defense that went pro. Now he's the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers, and now he looks short. And now he doesn't understand that you don't have 5 seconds to dissect the play.
Who's his best receiver?
And then when you do dissect the play, the Heisman Trophy winner is not breaking wide open anymore.
Who is the best receiver on his team?
On the Carolina Panthers?
Correct.
Adam Thielen.
Adam Thielen was banished from Minnesota.
That was their choice.
He was banished. I'm saying he was banished.
He wasn't banished. They just cut him. I mean, there's salary cap, implications.
That was your guy before last season, before Jefferson made his ascension to the top receiver in the NFL. That was your guy.
I'm so sorry. Your assertion is that if Bryce Young had better receivers, he'd be a better quarterback.
If he had better talent around him, he would be. He wouldn't be this. He wouldn't be.
Something on that coaching over there, Cam. Those coaches. Why aren't they coaching them up?
Oh, good call. I don't think
they ain't coaching them up over there.
All them schemes and stuff. I don't think Frank Reich is. Has he proven? To your point, thank you for bringing that up. Who is Frank Reich? He was supposed to be the quarterback whisperer, right? What's his last 3 veteran quarterbacks? What have they done? Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan. Who else did they have up in Indianapolis?
Matt Ryan kind of late. I don't know if you want to put Matt Ryan on.
I'm saying that was on it. That's who they picked. That's who they went out and identified as the quarterback to get it done. Was the Indianapolis Colts with him as a quarterback.
I'm so sorry, Cam. I thought we were having a conversation between Bryce Young and CJ Stroud.
You brought up coaching. You brought up coaching, and you're trying to say coaching.
All I was trying to reiterate is that all the coaching in the world is not going to make Bryce Young a good quarterback. He's not a good quarterback.
Wow. I don't know if you. We can go. That might be too soon to call Bryce Young a bust. And what I was saying, the point I was making, we were talking about the 2 quarterbacks, Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. If they flip situations, I don't know that CJ Stroud has these Carolina Panthers at 5-4. Mm-hmm. I don't know that. But then again, I wasn't a big believer of CJ when he came into the league. So I wonder how much of that is coaching that the CJ Stroud is getting, because clearly they're playing a good football. I'm not taking anything away from CJ Stroud. He's making throws. The throws that he's made, he's convinced me, as you mentioned, nearly 12 months ago, he can make every throw, and he's making these throws in the NFL. He's making these throws in crunch time, in game-winning situations. He's making these throws, so I will credit him for that. But I don't know if they switch situations. Does he have the Carolina Panthers in the same position? I don't know that, but he does have these Houston. I cannot argue that he has the Houston Texans competing for a division title, which is very impressive. I'm just not. I'm not ready to say that it's the same as the Peyton Manning, Ryan Leaf situation, because Ryan Leaf was a bust and he was out the league in 3 years, right? I don't know that Bryce Young will be out the league in 3 years. Come on now.
Again, you forget that situation was in reverse. That it came down to who actually got the pick, right? Peyton Manning was the number 2 pick in the draft.
Fair enough. Well, CJ Stroud, as you mentioned, went ahead, and one of your worst losses was the Bengals losing to the Texans. Does that put the Cincinnati Bengals on life support now for the playoffs?
Yeah.
Yeah, it puts them in a tough situation. It certainly does. Kyler Murray comes out and wins his first game back of his comeback. Kyler Murray looking like he hasn't, He just missed a couple games because his wife had a baby or something. He wasn't injured. He came back looking pretty fresh and ready to go. What's your thoughts on Kyler Murray and what he did?
Some of those scramble outs where he was running 100% full speed and still getting past cats, like, nope, can't catch me doing that stuff. Like you're saying, like it looked like, he had this injury mid-season. Yeah, it's like, nope, it's been a whole long time. And the throws, a few of them are a little errant, but man, considering he hasn't played in a year, not so much. And yeah, you see that he gives you an opportunity to win. However, it's about to get cold. It's about to get colder. Them hits are about to, have a cumulative effect, and then he's going to be Kyler Murray again.
I mean, they're probably showcasing Kyler Murray, to be honest. Arizona Cardinals are probably showcasing him so that they can go ahead and try to draft to make another top quarterback draft up on the top of the draft. Antonio Pierce moves to 2-0 as the Raiders as the Raiders HC by beating the hapless biplanes. I don't know. Does Antonio Pierce deserve any credit for beating the stinking Jets? I mean, the Jets stink. Saleh stinks. There's no culture. There's no identity there. You beat up on Staley for his culture and his identity, or his lack of culture, his lack of identity. But you're hanging in there with Saleh. Explain to me the culture of the stinking Jets, because I don't see any. I don't see any culture.
Sure.
I don't see any identity.
The culture. Can I explain it to you again? I've been explaining this for like a year and a half.
I mean, I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything. They absolutely stink. They're absolutely putrid.
Whenever you're ready to pass the mic out, I will explain.
Explain to me what you see out of these stinking Jets who are under 500, and they played a backup quarterback in the first year, second week head coach. Explain to me what you see.
Sure. So Robert Saleh
stinks.
Has a top 5 dominant defense.
Yeah, really? That's the backup quarterback.
I'm so sorry. Did I have the mic, or are you still
the backup quarterback? McDaniel. What's his?
Are you still interjecting into my?
I'm trying. When you just making such a wild assertion.
I'm not making. How is that a wild assertion? He has a top 5.
They just lost a game to Ronald McDonald.
He has a top 5 defense. Has had one for 2 years now. If he had an offense that could score 20 points, they would be 7-3. He does not. That offense can't do anything. Troy Aikman, quote unquote, this is a really bad team with a great defense. Said that last week after watching the whole game. There's nothing that he can do because he can't make any changes at the quarterback position. He is stuck with Zach Wilson. However, he has not lost the team. He understands. For sure. He understands where his bread is buttered. It's on the defensive side of the ball. All I want you guys to do is hold him for as long as you can. I know that offense of ours keeps giving us short fields with which to defend, and you can only do so much. But goodness gracious, you keep giving up like little or no points.
They lost.
That guy could get us.
They lost 8
points. He'd be okay.
They lost 8
so Robert Saleh is not a bad coach, and how you know this is because he hasn't lost the team, even though the offense and the defense are probably as split. Last time I saw this was at Lumen Field, when the offense and the defense were split like that. Those guys don't like those guys. He still keeps the team together. Aaron Rodgers is not coming back this year. He's not Steve Austin. So that's not going to happen. They're going to have to suffer through this. And as many games as they can get where Zach Wilson is not the worst quarterback in the league, they're in the game.
What
That's a culture.
where was
That's a culture where you can hold that together, even though these two sides of the ball hate each other.
Where was Zach Wilson drafted? What position? Where was
Number
he drafted?
2.
He was number 2. He was number 2 draft. The same position as CJ Stroud, huh? Is that what you're telling me? The same position as CJ Stroud.
See the significant difference, right? Yeah. That's what I said. What did I say before, Cam? Those people in Carolina, you have to answer because it's too disproportionate between those two players.
So will you tell me something? Where was Aiden O'Connell drafted? Where was he drafted?
Oh, I don't know, man.
Or was he even drafted?
Man, I don't even know.
Let me help you out. He was another 4th round quarterback. A 4th round quarterback was able to beat your great defense. Your great Troy Aikman says it's a great defense. Aiden O'Connell was able to beat these guys. How great could they be with Aiden O'Connell smacking you guys around, busting you over the head?
16-12. Cam was the score, right?
Was it?
I mean, how many touchdowns? Did they score an offensive touchdown? Maybe just the one. They didn't score 2.
Again, the question was your great defense. How they couldn't put up any
great
points?
Defense held a team with short fields to 1 offensive touchdown.
I hear nothing but excuses from you guys and that poor culture over there.
Okay, yeah, I hear you.
No,
I hear you hearing me, but not wanting you to acknowledge.
No cool. Identity.
That's cool too. Their identity is their defense.
Yeah,
yeah. That's the identity of the team.
Stop somebody then. Beat a 4th round quarterback.
How about that? You just can't continue to stop teams that always get the ball on the 30-yard line. Already in field goal range, you can hold them to a field goal.
You guys are.
You know what? Just because you're being like this, let's go check this out, man.
The Jets stink.
Let's go and check this out, okay? Just because you're being like this, which is weird.
I'm being like what? I'm pointing out the Jets and Robert Saleh stink. You don't want to give. You don't want to give Brandon
research. Score was 16-12. Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
3 field goals and a touchdown. That's right.
And how did they score a touchdown? Was it an offensive touchdown?
I'm pretty sure it was. Why don't your Saleh coach somebody up? Learn how to run the ball. Run the ball. If your running game is so exquisite,
you know what, Cam? They run the ball just fine. So let's see here.
Man, don't look up and bring me no stats. Don't try to give me no stats. Just tell me.
Oh, so
just give me a W.
I was just trying to clarify that. Yeah, they only scored 1 offensive touchdown. And it was
where's your touchdown? Where's your defensive touchdown? If your defense is so incredible, why can't they get any points on the board?
Well, hey, Cam, I don't know, man.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know. Even the Cleveland Browns, whose defense scores the ball, they're able to get block field goals, block punts. Mm-hmm. Their quarterback was in trouble, was hindering them most of the season. And now Deshaun Watson, after finally earning some money of that $230 guaranteed contract that he $200 million $30 million contract that he had all fully guaranteed, he finally earned some money, and then he has to have season injury surgery. Is that a worse message for the Browns fans, the team, the coaching staff, Deshaun Watson? Who's that a worse message for, that Deshaun Watson has to go down and have season-ending surgery after playing his best half of football in 3 years?
You want to hear a really terrible story, Cam?
What's that?
So it was my birthday weekend. I have a very good friend that's from Cleveland. We were born a day apart.
Oof.
We went to the Cleveland Browns Seahawk game. He was wearing his Brown stuff. I was wearing my Seahawk gear. Game was back and forth, seesaw. The Seahawks pull it out. We get on the train on the way back, and we're talking to some Browns fans. and we could tell that they were like really in the know about things, quote unquote, like without saying it, but what they were saying. And they were telling us on the train that they had known like 2 weeks prior this dude should have been shut down. Like his shoulder was like, no, like grated ground beef. Like there's a reason he couldn't lift his arm over his head and throw.
But that's why it was out. That's why it
No,
was
no. So listen now. This is the bad part of football, right? They already knew this, but they just kept like, "Hey, you okay? Hey, you okay? Hey, you okay? Hey, you okay? We gave you all this guaranteed money. You can't get on the field. What's wrong with you? He doesn't even need surgery." But they were already saying, like, why do they keep telling the public that he doesn't need surgery? And everybody knows that shoulder is not going to last this season. It's going to need to be shut down. And the sooner you do it, the better. But for public relations, it's such a bad look to shut someone down that you've guaranteed all this money to, knowing that his shoulder's not going to hold up.
wow.
And so finally, he was kind of sort of able to get on the field and did it for a little while. And what did he do? He did exactly what they knew he was going to do, but they forced him to do it. And now they force him to get out there again and make it seem like he's like the bad guy. Like, that's terrible. That's the NFL for you.
So this is 3 weeks ago that it was already known that his shoulder was
They knew his shoulder was hamburger meat then. They were just trying to get it a little bit better to like, okay, let's just. You remember when Sean Merriman wanted to play on a torn ACL and finally found a doctor that was like, yeah, you maybe sort of might be able to get through a full season on a torn ACL? Finally found a doctor that would say that, knowing he was lying.
Wow.
Same thing.
Tough situation, man.
For you. So, I mean, it's a bad break, but they knew weeks ago this was not going to be a thing.
Man, it
just didn't have the heart to tell people because they knew how it would look.
Yeah, well, it looks bad for everybody around. The Cleveland Browns for paying him. Is this karma for paying him when they probably shouldn't have paid him?
No. This is football. This is why you don't guarantee contracts in football, because the chance of injury is so great. And football, what do we say, Cam? Football players age in what? Dog years. So why would you give someone a guaranteed contract when you know that on any given play they could potentially never be the same, and year over year you're not going to get the same thing very often because football players.
But he had not been. He had
so
not
many injuries. They can't be the same player year to year to year.
He had not suffered an injury though in his career up until.
Wow, that's fortunate. But how can you project that?
Yeah, you can't. I mean, well, you can look at projection past history, and he had not suffered an injury.
Yeah, but playing football,
he's been pretty healthy.
It's not like you've been durable doing other things where you don't get hit all the time.
I mean, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, it's a bad look all the way around. Cleveland. Here's an interesting stat. No, we don't like to dabble in a whole lot of stats, but this is a very interesting stat. The Ravens, the season right now, there's been 600 minutes played in the season. The Ravens have been behind 29 minutes. Just so happens those 29 minutes come in the fourth quarter. Are you concerned about their inability to close out games?
I am reminded of their inability to close out games, which is why I feel so foolish for thinking that they had somehow been able to reinvent themselves and shake this. And it's just, no, they do this all the time.
I mean, they are what, 6-3 right now? Mm-hmm. And it's just.
And those 3 losses all happen the same way. What do Giannis say? Man, we're not going to be playing with our food. They play with their food.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that they're good enough to where they can just wipe people off the map. So I mean, they have a couple blowout wins. I mean,
The
it's
blowout win against Detroit, the blowout win against Seattle.
okay.
Uh,
Those are
those looked like ooh, okay, but the
that's
loss to Indianapolis, the loss to Cleveland.
that's 20% of the games they played this season that they blew people.
They will find a way to lose big games.
Is it fair or foul for the 49ers, speaking of that blowout win against the Jacksonville Jaguars, to try to force feed C-Mac a touchdown so he can get his 18th touchdown score a touchdown in his 18th straight game? Fair or foul?
It's fair.
You're okay with them forfeiting? And then last week, just tell people again so they can hear you say this. How do you feel about Brock Purdy today?
I feel like Brock Purdy is more than a serviceable quarterback if he has Trent Williams playing left tackle and Deebo Samuel playing wide receiver in the lineup.
I mean, how many catches did Deebo get this past week?
Man, I don't know. A touchdown at least one.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I mean, you want to act like he can't do anything without Deebo behind him. Let's see how many touchdowns Deebo got this week. I don't know how many touches. I just want to. They're not even touchdowns. How many touches did Deebo Samuel get this past week?
How many you get?
7 touches out of something like 60 plays.
7 touches. Okay. That's 60 plays, so that's over 10% of the plays. Okay. You score any touchdowns?
I'm trying to find the amount of plays. Did he score any touchdowns? Did Deebo Samuel score any touchdowns? He had 1 rushing touchdown.
So yes, is what you're asking. You try to answer the question like it was like kind of dismissive. So he did score a touchdown.
He scored a touchdown. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, significant factor.
Out of 60 plays, he touched the ball 10% of the time.
Okay, so they're way better with him in the lineup. That's kind of what you're alluding to, but just can't find the heart to say. It's weird. Yeah, Debo's a factor. Debo's coming.
The Chargers lost to the Lions in a shootout game. What does that game say more? Does the game say more about the Lions or the Chargers?
Oh man, Lions. Anytime you get out into a shootout with Justin Herbert and you come out with the victory, man, consider yourself fortunate.
Now he
not even joking, bro. If you have a team that can score 41 points, you probably didn't know that until you got into that game. Unless you're the Dolphins or the Chiefs or one of those kind of teams, you probably didn't know that. You had to prove it.
That's so funny. Now he want to give Justin Herbert some credit, fans.
That doesn't translate to wins or playoff appearances, but if you just want to throw some points at people, it's hard to put your hands up with those guys for real.
So, fans, on the board, you see our supremacy rankings from last week, and you see this week. Baltimore just falls right out of his supremacy rankings. Interesting how Detroit. Oh, you did have Detroit up there last week. Cincinnati, you didn't have Cincinnati in your rankings. San Francisco, you already had. See, why are you surprised that in the Jacksonville Jaguars losing, and you had San Francisco your 3rd best team in the league? I don't understand why you're so shocked by that situation.
Why am I so shocked that they beat the division leader 34-3? Because
Yeah,
that
but
was not what was expected.
the
You don't
third
usually
team in
beat
the league.
the other. You don't usually beat a division leader by 30 points in the middle of the season.
So why is Detroit so low on your poll? They beat Kansas City earlier in the season. They showed that they can win a shootout game. Why do you have Detroit so
Sure.
low?
So they beat Kansas City in week 1. That was the first. That was the first game of the season.
Okay,
Uh, my beloved Hawks came up there and beat them. They're a good team, a playoff team, but not a great team. So they beat them
in the last
at
minutes of
home.
in the last minutes of the game.
And then they went to Baltimore and got blitzkrieged.
That's right.
So they don't really play that well against elite teams, but they play well enough to, get victories. And again, they gave up 38 points to the Chargers, just barely escaped with a victory. That's why I have them where I have them.
So looking at this list, I should have San Francisco higher than the Bengals. With the Bengals loss here, I should have them higher. I got Philly, Detroit, KC. It should be San Francisco and Cincinnati. You don't even have Cincinnati in your list. I think Cincinnati's better than the Cowboys. I can't argue with the Eagles, Chiefs, Niners, and Lions. I think the Bengals are better than the Cowboys, in my
Okay.
opinion. Here's our pick from last ones. Well, you had Chicago, Carolina. You don't like Bryce Young. We both had Baltimore losing to the Browns. I had Minnesota and Josh Dobbs beating the Saints. We both had Cincinnati beating the Texans. We both had Tennessee beating the Bucks. But did you start Baker? Did you start Baker this past week?
No, CJ Stroud.
Atlanta lost to the Cardinals, and I mean Atlanta stinks. I had no business even picking those guys. Atlanta stinks. No, they're about as good as the Jets. Atlanta. And then we both had Buffalo, with a humiliating loss to the Broncos. That was absolutely humiliating. Would you agree?
Absolutely. I mean, those losses on defense are just starting to mount up, and the season is getting longer. And you're starting to point fingers already. Offensive coordinator's gone. His fault, apparently.
Yeah, right, right. I had the Colts, Tennessee +1, who obviously lost, and I had the Raiders +1.5. You had the Niners, Pittsburgh, right? That's where you won, and then New Orleans obviously lost. So we tied the week. I'm just a mere game out of the pick segments away from you right there, Cleveland. Here's our confidence picks last week. Ugly, ugly, ugly. I had two wrong. Cincinnati really hurt me, and Buffalo. I only had 2 points on them guys. Yeah, Cincinnati, Baltimore, and Buffalo really hurt you right
All the
there.
favorites, just crumbled underneath my fingers.
So you,
Yeah.
so you just take the favorites every week. That's what you do. That's what you do. I see. We people understand. There's no really logic behind the way you pick, and you
Oh,
see.
really? Oh. So we'll see it again. Okay, so you lost the same Cincinnati game I lost. You lost the same Buffalo game I lost.
Yeah,
Just didn't throw Baltimore on there
yeah,
because you
because
thought the
no
Rams
confidence,
would win that game.
huh? And,
Yeah,
and I had the Seahawks.
yeah,
Ain't
man.
that your fault? I had confidence in your
Yeah.
guys.
Weird. Yeah, we have 2 of the 3 same losses, but you want to throw shade on my name. Okay. Okay.
Next week, here's my games of the week, fans. Next week, I have the Bengals and the Ravens. That's a
Mm-hmm.
huge game, especially with that loss. The Bengals need this win to get back in the playoff hunt, and the Ravens need to shake off that bad loss that they had, get that taste out their mouth.
Okay.
The Steelers and the Browns.
That's no
Uh,
longer a big game. You need to change that one because they don't have a starting quarterback. They're not going to win that game.
well, neither do the Steelers either. So if they put in PJ Walker, that'll be even.
Ooh. Oh, are you throwing? So I'm so sorry. You throwing Kenny Pickett under the bus?
I'm like, come on,
Ooh,
has he been in what you thought?
well blooded.
Uh, the Eagles and the Chiefs. Yeah, I'm gonna have to replace that game of the week. I don't know what yet. I'm gonna have to replace that one. It might be the Titans and the Jaguars.
Oh, it's not gonna be the Raiders and the Dolphins.
I mean,
You were just
12.
you were just singing those high praises of Antonio Pierce and that team.
No, I wasn't. I asked a question. Like, do they even deserve credit? Should we even be talking about that game? But because it was a stinking Jets against a coach that's been in the league, that's been coaching for 2 weeks. I mean, if the Dolphins have struggled with these guys, boy. So I got Baltimore. You got Cincinnati. You went white. Joe Burrow. You're that sick about the Ravens loss?
Yes, I don't think Tyler Boyd is going to drop another touchdown in the end zone when it comes that time.
I mean, they're in Baltimore.
Yeah, okay. We saw what happened last game.
I mean,
in Baltimore.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Cincinnati Bengals probably need this game more. But
do they?
Yeah, they need this game more to get back in the playoff hunt. They're 5-4. If
the Ravens fall into a free fall and lose 4 or 5 games in a row.
They typically do that, man. They're that's not off the table. But I think the Bengals need this game more. But I got the Ravens winning this game. Pittsburgh playing the Browns. Obviously, I had to change that pick. I had Cleveland winning this game until the news about Deshaun. I had to change my pick there.
That's why fans sometimes Wednesday's a little early to make the pick.
Sometimes Wednesday might be early, but just so we can do it on air, so we can give the fans our
example of that. But Cam was able to get that info quickly enough to make that change. I like it.
We got Detroit we got Detroit winning. We got the Chargers winning. We got Miami winning. We agree on the Commanders, Dallas, Jacksonville, Houston, San Fran, Buffalo. You got the Rams. You got the Seahawks traveling to the dome team and playing in SoFi. What's going on here? You that down on Geno that he can't play against Aaron Donald and
we haven't been good against the Rams as of late, so I'm not 100% confident. So I'm going the other way with it.
What a turncoat you are! What a turncoat!
Going the other way with it.
What a turncoat you are! Are you going against? Who are they playing? Who's the quarterback for the Rams?
Matthew Stafford.
Is he playing this week? I thought Matthew. I thought he had a headache or something. He bumped his head or he had a thumbnail or something like that.
That's why you got to check that injury report real close.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The Vikings and the Broncos. Look at you back on Russell's bandwagon. Oh, you did call Sierra for real. You did call Sierra for real to find out is this real? Did we see something? You got Sierra and the Broncos beating Minnesota, huh? You think this is the end of Josh Dobbs' ride? Is this what you're thinking?
Yeah. It's in that ride. And then I saw the playbook from the beginning of the year, and the playbook at present in week 11. It's incredibly condensed. So.
And then you got KC over Philly.
Mm-hmm.
You want to explain this to the people?
I truly believe that if the Philadelphia Eagles have to score points from behind, they're a different team. We have not seen that so far, and I think that we may see that in week 11 of the season.
I mean, KC didn't put up a whole lot of points in their last outing, though.
They have not put up a whole lot of points all season long,
and Kelsey was in where's he in Argentina? He went to a concert in Argentina this during the off season, during his bye week.
Yeah, Cameron's rich. He can do that.
I'm just saying. I mean,
it was a lot of accommodations. He had the plan all to himself and like 3 other people. Like had a sleeping quarter, and then touchdown, did the thing, and got right back on the plane. It was like less than 24 hours.
So traveling really doesn't matter, is what you're telling me. But you try to include traveling in your picks every single week.
No, because he didn't have anything to do.
Now you're trying to tell me that traveling.
I didn't say to play. I didn't say to play in an NFL football game. I said to go down and watch your your girlfriend sing on stage and then just get right back on. Yeah, he's probably asleep like 80% of the travel. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just saying. So I got the Cowboys plus 10 or minus 10.
Yeah, the Cowboys minus 10. I got the Giants plus 10.
Yeah. Over the Panthers, over those Panthers and Bryce Young. Yeah, they better put up. They better win by 10. I got the Chargers. To win by 3 in their game over the Packers over Jordan Love, and then I got
the Jets or the Giants. Who you got? I got the Giants plus 10.
Yeah, the Giants plus 10 over the Commanders. Come on. The Commanders. That's Sam Howell.
I can't argue because I had the Giants plus 10 as well. So I just wanted to see which way you were going. And by the way, I also have the Chargers winning by more than 3. So the only difference is, I got Pittsburgh against that. So sorry. The spread is probably significantly different after the announcement.
What is the spread? What is the spread? I mean, I'll give that one to you. That's a pretty dramatic.
Is that a little early? Some things have happened since then. I don't even.
That is a pretty dramatic turn of events there that impacts it. So we'll go ahead and make that change on the spreadsheet. I'll give that one to you. I grant you that. I'll grant you that one. What is
so I have to change them both. I have to change what the spread actually is at show time.
No, I'm saying for that the Browns game, the spread. Oh, it's the Browns -1. That's what it is. It's the Browns -1. That's what I'm looking at. What are you looking at?
Yeah, it was the Browns -4 before they lost their starting quarterback, and after they lost their starting quarterback, it went down by a field goal, so it went down to -1.
How about that? You might want to keep. The.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to keep it, but I'm just saying, it's dramatically different.
Yeah, that's wow. How does that happen? Cool. They lose their starting quarterback and they gain 3 points. The
spread shifts with they had the Cleveland ahead, right? Cleveland winning by 4, and then
they lose it. They lose 3 points. That means Deshaun Watson's worth 3 points, basically.
He's actually worth way more than that, but the betting public hasn't shifted just yet. Not everyone's fully aware or now.
Let's see. Let's pin this conversation. And next week, let's see if this actually changes more by Sunday.
Oh, Pittsburgh will be favored by Friday.
By 6?
What's that?
By 6?
No.
Pittsburgh will be favored by how many?
By probably 1.
Friday.
Probably a point.
So you're saying then, with that being said, Deshaun Watson's worth 5 points is what you're saying. If I understand you correctly.
Closer to 5 points, closer to a touchdown in that game for sure. Yeah. Okay. You must have PJ Walker running around there.
I'm just saying. Or Dorian Smith. You guys are trying to convince me how good that UCLA football program is. So Charbonnet. That guy, he played at UCLA football.
He was running the ball. Yeah.
He was UCLA.
The running back and the receiver were extraordinary last year. Yeah, DTR was cool in college.
He was a quarterback at UCLA.
There was.
All of a sudden, he gets no credit in NFL. It's weird how that happens.
Well, try him again. I mean, the way this Steeler defense
UCLA football is no one to get. You don't credit that program whatsoever. That's how that happens. So here's our confidence pick for this week, fans. I got Buffalo, Miami, Detroit, San Francisco, and Dallas by 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Considering we both got Dallas.
5, 4, 3 are the same. Interesting.
Ooh, you got. Oh, look at you going. Look at you going with Staley. and Riverboat Ron. Okay, we're gonna see how things shake out for you next week. We're gonna see how things shake out for you next week, Mr. Cleveland. So those are our picks for this week, fans. Go ahead, pull this off the stage. And Cleveland, it's been an interesting week in the NBA. Interesting time on the hard court, Cleveland. So let's jump right into these conversations. Now, you told me last week it's too soon to pay any attention to the NBA standings until when did you say?
After Christmas.
You said after Christmas. I was using Christmas as the benchmark. So I'm gonna avoid asking you some standing questions. But is it too soon to say that OKC is a problem? Is it too soon to say that?
No,
because I don't know if you saw OKC with Chet Holmgren, the fake rookie of the year, your boy Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. You got Josh Giddey. I mean, they went up against Wemby, and Chet didn't have a great game. Neither did Wemby, but they beat the Spurs by 36, had them down by 40 at some point. So is it too soon to say that OKC is a problem?
They will be a problem in the regular season, all regular season long, Cam.
Oh, they not ready for the real tournament, huh? Ooh, okay. Cleveland. I just talked about. I just said I'm not going to bring up standings, so I'm going to ask you this question in this format: is it too soon to give those Houston Rockets, some love?
Yeah,
they beat your boys by 30. Didn't they turn around? Didn't they beat Phoenix? I think they beat Phoenix by a handsome amount.
And they were short-staffed too.
Mm-hmm. Oh boys! Oh, so you want to say the Rockets haven't played anybody healthy
at full strength?
Is that Correct. What you're telling me?
That is what I'm telling you. Yes.
Oh, you're cold. So the Rockets can't get no love.
No.
Who did the Rockets beat? I mean, the Rockets they haven't lost in the month of November. They just beat Denver on Sunday.
Short-staffed.
Oh my! Here you go. The Pelicans, they beat Sacramento Kings back-to-back nights.
I mean, they mean your Kings. I mean, that you put some credence on that. I don't. Beat the Sacramento Kings, big deal.
I mean, you like the Pelicans with Zion playing. They beat
short-staffed. Somebody collapsed their lung.
They beat them at 33.
Cameron.
Yeah, the second game of the season.
Is their best player has a collapsed lung and hasn't played?
That was the second game of the season. That was before the collapsed lung. That was a month ago. They beat them by 33. Yeah. Okay. I'm just saying. Okay. It's early in the season right now. But you can keep your eye on the Rockets, fans. Because I was laughed at when I said the Rockets on talent alone should be in the playoffs. I was laughing.
Playing some teams at full strength, you don't see who the Houston Rockets really are.
Oh, you guys weren't at full strength. Is that what you're telling me? You're Lakers?
Nope.
Okay, fans.
Missing like 4 players, but that's fine.
Oh, Cleveland, you were so anxious to see. You called for it all summer long. You called for this to happen. I was fighting it. I actually said, "Look at it. He's smiling so big and cheesing." Has a Harden trade ruined the Clippers?
No, Cam. I mean, look, man, they have not won a game since they traded for him. But it's gonna take some time to put these teams.
Now all of a sudden he has patience now.
The chemistry.
All of a sudden he has patience now.
Together. I mean, it may take 35, 40 games for them to really.
That's half the season, Cleve. That's half the season. That's half the season. I don't know if you know, but there's only 82 games in a year. There's only 82 games in a year. I don't know if you noticed that or not. There's only 82 games in a year. You just told me it's going to take 40 games for these guys to develop some chemistry. Yeah, these are grown men. These are grown men grown men who've been playing basketball their whole life. And you're telling me it's going to take 40 games for them to learn how to play with the guy next to him?
Cam, it might take 35, 40 games for them to get some cohesion and some chemistry together, because you must realize that, so far this team has been healthy, but how long can that last with those three players? So you're going to have some in and out of the lineup.
I mean, that might be the best thing to have. That might be that we don't wish no injury upon anybody, but that might be the best thing that can happen to this team if somebody actually gets hurt to where they're not available.
No, that can't be the best thing to happen, because that interrupts the whole bonding of the chemistry. And in addition, there are feelings, to be, considered here.
Are there?
Russ and Harden still have to make up, and they still haven't really made up. They've been placating, in the media, but there's some hurt feelings there. Some hurt feelings in OKC when James cut out and went on and win an MVP.
Cleveland, this is what you've been talking about. Is this what you expected when you've been calling for this trade?
There were some hurt feelings when Russ went down there to Houston and realized that James Harden was just running his own personal strip club and just had VIP carte blanche, whatever he wanted to do, not run very professionally, wanted out of there. He thought he had gotten away from James, and here comes James just right back on the back of his neck. So they got to work that out. I mean, ooh, get him, Budnick. Get him. That's about all he's going to win. I mean, unless his chemistry comes together.
Cleveland is funny.
But wait.
Cleveland was calling for this Budnick. I don't know.
Yeah. I got one last point. But if anybody can bring that together, it's Ty Lue.
Ty Lue is growing hairs on TV. He's growing gray hair on TV.
If anybody can bring that all together, it's Ty Lue. Mm-hmm.
During the game, I saw Ty Lue growing gray hair. I saw his hair turning gray on during the game last night.
Anybody can do it, it's Ty Lue.
Budnick, Cleveland has been calling for this trade all off season long. And I know why he's been calling for it. He's been calling for it because he knew it was going to jackknife the Clippers season. And he knew that. And that was the only way his Lakers were going to be the team in the crypto center this year. Because there might not be, as quiet as kept, there might not be much reason to go to the crypto after the season. Once the Clippers open up their new dome, there might not be much reason to go to the crypto this season. Because AD, where's AD taking you? Where's AD? LeBron's going to be 40 years old. Where's AD leading your team to?
Well, Cam, last year they were in the Western Conference Finals. They added a few additional pieces, and I don't know if you've heard. I don't know if you've heard the rumor mill as to who is coming to town very shortly. I don't know if you've heard the rumor mill as to who's coming to town next year.
Zach LaVine. You're writing on Zach from Bothell. Zach from Bothell is going to take the LA to where? I mean, is that who you're talking about? I don't know. What rumor mill you talking about?
Well, Cam, it's early. It's curly. I'm not trying to jump in the rumor mill with you. I'm just saying, there's been some.
But is that what you're talking about? Zach LaVine from Bothell going to the Lakers?
I mean, would that be a significant upgrade to what they were already doing?
You tell me. I don't know. Are you sending
a significant upgrade?
Are you sending AD to Chicago? Letting him go home?
He's not going.
I mean, you're not sending Reeves.
Nope, he's not going either.
Well, you see, SB, you see how elusive he's being. He don't want to talk about it right now. But yeah, when you get swept, it's not if, it's when you get swept. It really don't count. But they're not getting that far. They're not getting that far on this roster. They're not getting that far on this roster, and so he don't want to talk about it, man. And no, I personally will write Adam Silver if that kid from Minnesota is heading to Southern California not to play with the Clippers in the new Intuit Dome. Like I personally will have a problem with Adam Silver and all his travels if he considers that kid in Minnesota wearing anything other than that Timberwolves uniform or Clippers uniform. I personally will have a problem with it. That can't be who you're talking about. Yeah,
that actually wasn't. I mean, if that happened, it would just be Armageddon for the rest of the league. That's not happening. No, I was actually talking to a cat that plays in the Northeast right now, about to last year's contract.
Yeah, again, you're being so evasive, but Ant-Man is on next on. Man, that kid shot down the Nuggets last week. Has the Timberwolves in second place in the West. Cleveland, is that sustainable? You don't want to give the Rockets any credit, but
you know what, Cam? For the regular season, it absolutely is. It's sustainable. Get some momentum, get some confidence. You got Gobert, you got the 3-point champion and Karl Anthony Towns.
Did you wake Gobert up? Is he still choked out? Is he breathing? Did you wake him up after that sleeper hold he got put on?
Put the Sag Nasty headlock on him. That was kind of like, hey man, I didn't know we was like, in a back alley somewhere. I thought we was all multimillionaires playing basketball. That's weird.
Yeah, we're gonna get to that one. But in serious business, I joked about it. Should the Lakers consider trading AD though?
No.
No, you don't want to. No, AD's there to stay.
That is the truth. Yeah, that's what's happening.
Okay, because you're not getting Tyrese Maxey, who went off for 50 the other night and leading the 76ers to the top of the Eastern Conference.
Don't need him. Don't need him
until the Sixers lost to Boston tonight.
Don't need Maxey. Mm-mm.
Oh, I like Halliburton. I mean, I don't know where is Halliburton at? Where do they have the clips right there? I like Halliburton. Halliburton showed out during the what you call it? During the summer.
That's cool. Yeah, great. Cool.
See that ain't me. That ain't me, SB. Halliburton, he learned a lot. Those games are critical. Cleveland doesn't understand how critical playing with better talent around them, how that can be for your mental.
Well, he doesn't have that luxury going into the season here playing with Indiana.
I mean, they're not the Olympic team.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they're not the Olympic team. But right now, Indiana is fourth in the conference.
That's good.
We can't talk standings, SB. We can't talk standings till after Christmas. So, being that they're 7-4, I mean, I'm not mad at Halliburton. No, he is earning his money.
All in. He's might be all-star this year.
In the Eastern Conference, certainly.
Quite possibly.
Zion, your guy Zion, says, I'm trying my best to buy in right now. He didn't really sound so confident. So when they smack Philly, who Indy?
That was last night or 2 nights ago.
A couple nights ago.
Yeah.
I mean, again, Philly, that was Philly's second loss. They just lost again for their third loss. So yeah, I'm not mad at Indy. But Zion, Zion sounded like Harden out here. I'm trying my best to fit in right now. I mean, if he's talking I want to be traded language. That's that undercover trade me language right there that he's talking about. Because I don't know, as good as he is when they play, I don't know that he's a focal point of that team. Now that they have Ingram and the young boy Hawkins, a 3-point shooter, like I don't know that Zion is not the focal point of that squad. Like it'd be silly of the Pelicans to put all their chips in that Zion basket because he hasn't been there, for whatever reasons, well, all the reasons you want to call it. He hasn't been there to fulfill that hope that they've had for. So I don't know. What's your thoughts on Zion and his words? Do you agree with me that that's trade me language?
Man, you already know my thoughts on Zion. I thought they should have traded him in the offseason. They didn't, so they're stuck with this headache, which is, yeah, exactly what you deserve.
So until last night, the Warriors have had one player other than Steph scored 20 points in a game this season. That was pretty crazy to kind of fathom, right? Until last night when Steph didn't play, obviously Draymond got kicked out of the game, Clay got kicked out of the game. It was a rookie and Dario Zaric who scored 20 plus points. That was pretty wild stat, don't you? Would you agree with that?
Nah, slow, older team pacing themselves,
Yeah, I agree with that, SB. His seat is heating up again. But it's not. He's kind of coaching the team. He's not making the roster moves. He's coaching the team that they was given, and like Cleveland said, maybe keeping Zion around wasn't the best decision for the group. And when the best player goes out with what is a punctured lung or breathing issues or whatever he has, I mean you can't. I mean, to say you can't blame the coach for that, that's true. But man, he got to play the hand he was dealt, and right now he got all low numbers in spade game. He don't got no face cards, no face cards. And if you use Spade's comparison, Cleveland, how many games does Draymond get suspended for dragging Gobert down the court?
10.
10 games? Oh, you're way off. Come on, man. He's not getting 10 games for that. They gave your boy, that's more than 30% than they gave your boy for running around here flashing guns. No, he's gonna get 3 games at the most, 3 to 4 games at the most, and only because he's only getting 3 games because that he's the recidivist factor because he's
repeat offender because he'd be doing this all the time.
I mean, yeah, that's the only if this was. Did they announce it already? He got 5 games. I thought I did see it somewhere. I didn't see it confirmed. So he got 5 games. That makes sense. I'm fair. That's fine. That's fair. Fair game is fine. How do you feel about these courts, man? This in-season tournament.
I like them.
You do? I'm not feeling. Yeah. I'm not feeling. I'm gonna
make it fancy. Make it different than your regular court, man. It delineates. This is different than just a regular game.
I thought the jerseys already did that. The courts, man. I thought messing with the courts. I'm not.
Big streak down the middle. It took a minute to wear up to grow on me as well, but yeah, I like them.
Yeah, I still think this tournament. I'm not SB. What you think about this tournament? I think this tournament. It should be. We should see tournament games from the first week in November. Let the guys get 3 or 4 games. The season starts in the middle of October. Let the guys get 3 or 4 games with their team. Let them build up.
Let them experiment with it a little bit.
I've seen enough to experiment. Come on, have this shit together, bro.
It can't be all like just laid out first time.
Man,
let's go get there.
They're going back and forth. Tournament game tonight. Regular game tomorrow night, tournament game on Friday. Let's stop that. It should be a tournament. You don't go in and out the tournament. You don't go in and out the bubble, do you?
No? Well, I mean, apparently,
some people try to go in and out the bubble.
So off subject, can't get it all that right now, but yeah, sometimes.
Yeah, no, you got it.
I feel that. Some of them haven't done a great job. Some of them are kind of smooth.
Okay. I mean, but let's go tournament all the time or no tournament none of the time. How about that? All tournament for 3 weeks. And then to come think about it, these games are going to be tournament games. You're going to enter the tournament. You're going to win the tournament 3-1.
I kind of like that in and out because then again, you got to realize, man, these guys want to turn it on and off when they feel like. Nah, you have to, keep it consistent, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Otherwise, you get in that in-tournament thing for like 3 weeks, and then all of a sudden you get out, and all of a sudden you're just,
No, it's not regular season games as well. It's a tournament on Tuesday. It's tournament on Tuesday and Friday.
Regular season games. So
it's tournament on Tuesday.
But if you just turn it all just tournament for like 3 weeks, no, man.
Yes.
That makes it the playoffs within the playoffs. This is a tournament.
Listen to this point. Listen to this point. To go to the tournament, the top top 4 teams go to the tournament. You have a first round of the tournament and then the championship game. So that's the top 14. You're gonna have a record of 3-1, 5-2, or 4-2. Go to the tournament. That means you play 6 games in the tournament games. What tournament you don't play 6 games? You need to go into the tournament with the 8-1 record, 9-1 record, 8-2 record.
Let those people work it out, man. It's the first one. We're on this one out. We'll see.
Yeah, it's regular season game. The regular season games don't count toward the tournament. Tournament games, SB, is only on Tuesdays and Fridays.
Tournament games count as regular season games. They're not independent of.
No, they don't. This is what I'm telling you. When these teams go to the tournament, they're going to go to the tournament.
If you lose a game in the tournament, it does not count against your regular season record. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, the tournament counts against the regular season. Yes.
Okay. That's what the statement was. That's what the statement was. It counts as a regular season game. You don't get to lose a tournament game and not count against your regular season record.
You're missing what I'm saying. The tournament, all these games count to your regular season record. The only games that do not count against your regular season is that championship tournament game.
Right.
So those 2 teams will play 83 games. The 2 teams that make it to that in-season tournament. Okay. But the tournament games are only on Tuesday and Friday.
Okay.
So your Lakers playing Sacramento tonight. This is not a tournament game. When Sacramento smacks these Lakers by 30 tonight, that doesn't count towards a tournament game.
Okay, well,
but obviously counts against your regular season game, your regular season matchup. So you're going to go the Lakers if they were. The Clippers aren't going to make it because they're 0 for right now in tournament games. They're 0 for. But it's a 72-59 game going into the second half of this Sacramento Kings versus Lakers game. But the leaders are like 3-1 in a tournament play. So you're gonna go to the tournament with like a 6-2 record. Like that's booty. That's booty, is what I'm explaining to you. That's booty. So speaking of teams that try to lead a bubble, didn't want to be in the bubble. I'm ashamed to have this conversation with you. Actually, what's your thoughts on Lou Williams saying the Clippers took their foot off the gas because they heard people they didn't want to go to the bubble, they didn't want to be in a bubble, and there's going to be an asterisk by this game, by this championship if they were to win. So we just kind of gave up and kind of took our foot off the gas. If that wasn't the most losingest mentality I've heard, Cleavon. And I'm gonna say something about your guy LeBron. And I said this before. I said this when it happened. That was the best leadership I have personally seen in years on the basketball court. By gathering his guys, getting them all mentally focused from the time that the season ended. Play in March of 2020, I believe it was. I'm pretty sure it was 2020. Pretty sure it was 2020. From the time that they played, they ended the last game to when the bubble started back in July. I think it was late July that they started back in the bubble. That was the best showing of leadership by bringing his team together, keeping the team involved. Everybody having PlayStation parties where they're competing on the video games. Everybody's going to the play golf together. Everybody's having haircut parties and all that type of shit. That was the best job of LeBron's leadership, not only on the court but off the court as well. The Clippers, as we know, as we mentioned multiple times on this show, have no leadership. That's another problem that they're facing right now. Is there's no leadership on that team right now. There, Ty Lue is a coach, but there's no leader in the locker room for to make that system work. To say, Russell, you're coming off the bench. To say, James Harden, okay, you can start, but you're gonna pass the ball. And so I gotta give your guy. I even got to give your guy not only LeBron credit, but I'm giving your guy Kyrie Irving credit right now for when they got to Brooklyn. Kyrie said, "You're going to be the 2 guard, you're going to be the shooting guard, and I'm gonna get my shots as well." At least he was showing some leadership. I didn't agree with what he was saying, but at least he was trying to break it down on who's going to play what position, who's going to play what part. Clearly, Kyrie didn't like that. Well, I think it was Kyrie saying I didn't want to get shot and I'm not playing, and then him not being able to play games on the road, et cetera, et cetera. But at least he was showing some leadership. The Clippers had somebody to say, look, we need to get Kawhi the ball. Paul George stop going playing iso ball and shooting the ball, shooting wedgies at the with the game on the line. James Harden, get us the ball around here. The least they had some leadership to kind of put those guys in line. They don't have any leadership. There's too many, I would say too many chiefs in the kitchen, but the problem is they don't have a chief. They don't have one chief that they need to listen to. So I think that's a big problem with the Clippers right now. But back to, I'm gonna give your guy, acknowledge that I'm giving LeBron credit for showing a best piece of leadership that I personally seen in a long time on a basketball court or a basketball team, by keeping those guys focused in the bubble to win that championship. Regardless if people want to put an asterisk by it or not, somebody has to win that thing. Somebody has to win that thing when you go into the bubble. Why not it be you? And the Clippers, Lou Williams, dog, what are you talking about? We took our foot off the gas because we didn't want to be there? Come on, man. I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed to have this conversation. It was embarrassing to hear that, Yvonne. Go ahead. I'm so frustrated right now.
Yeah, it's just a perfect example of what the cynics will say about it, right? It's like, at what point do you feel it's not your responsibility to be professional 100% of the time, given the opportunity that you've been given? And what Lou Williams is basically saying is what the cynics have always been alluding to, is that once you give people a certain amount of money, then the game becomes kind of secondary and inconsequential, and you forget why you're making all of this money. And this is a perfect example of someone forgetting that and then not realizing that they're just not letting themselves down because they don't want to be in the bubble for a few extra months. They're letting the organization down, they're letting the city down, and they're proving to be very immature with regards to how they're handling the situation. And then you have a whole team of people. I mean, he was speaking for the whole team. We kind of. He didn't say I. He said we kind of. So when you throw everybody, into that same,
I mean, he was part of the team. He was right there. He was a significant part of the team. So on that team, he could speak up for that team. He was a significant part of the team. Again, we talked about the lack of leadership that the Kawhi has in himself. Paul George, we know, is a follower. So who are you looking to leadership from that team? It was coming from Montrezl Harrell. It was coming from Lou Williams. It was coming from the collective, the bunch, if you will. I agree with you. Definitely asterisk in the bubble. Well, I take that back. I take it back. Everybody had to go. Somebody had to win. And with somebody being a winner, I mean, whoever wins it, they get the chip. They get the ring. So it didn't mean we don't give the San Antonio Spurs an asterisk for playing in '99 in the strike shortened season. Wow. We do not give the Miami Heat an asterisk for that strike shortened season in 2012. So somebody had to win these seasons. Somebody had to win these seasons. Somebody had to win that chip. The Lakers ended up winning. I think that was the best part of leadership. I will take that to my grave. That was the best leadership I've seen out of an NBA player, NBA team. Context matters. You're absolutely right. Context matters. I will take your point that AD getting 4 months off before he came back to play was sure. I will give that a more credence that benefited the Lakers. Yet and still, somebody still had to come back and play and win. Like they still had games to play. Yes, he had time off so he could stay healthy. Yes, he had 3 months to get his mind right to go play. Somebody still had to play. Somebody still had to get ready. Context matters in the fact that these Los Angeles Clippers probably had a better team, probably had the best team, the best rotation in NBA at that time, but their head wasn't right. They didn't have the leadership. So you want to give context. Context matters. Doc Rivers lost the most in playoff series, having a 3-1 lead than anybody in the NBA history. So you got to give that some context. Paul George is Kawhi Leonard's lack of leadership. Paul George's inability to be a leader impacts their team to be to play to be in a position to win. So yes, I give that matter. Strike, pandemic, probably not. But again, somebody had to win those shortened seasons, which I will always contend too. That 2012 season, when the strikes, the NBA didn't start playing until Christmas. That was the most intense basketball season. Every game counted. Every game counted. It was like every other night we're getting Cleveland, you say you don't want to count games until Christmas. Well, it was Christmas when that started. So you know from Christmas to end of April, all these games mattered. That was a hell of a season. And did KD and the young Thunder get robbed in the playoffs? Sure they did. But LeBron was ready at that time. LeBron had learned. He was coming off that heartbreaking loss against the Mavericks, so they were ready. They were in winning position right there, so they went ahead and win it. But back to Lou Williams talking about they let the foot off the gas. Cleveland, you make very good points. It has to be in it. It has to be more than just the money. You have to love the game. You can't be doing it just for the money. And it proves that maybe they weren't doing it for the right reasons, Cleveland. But another thing I want to add to that, another reason that this is such an embarrassing comment to make is Cleveland. This is, what are we, 2 years, 3 years after this happened? And Lou Williams, you haven't recognized that was a flawed thinking at the time? You haven't realized that now? To where looking back on it, you just don't, you might not want to say that again, Lou. Obviously, you said it, it's out on tape, it's for everybody to record, Lou, but some things you keep to yourself. Some things you don't share. You don't share stuff like this because that is absolutely flawed logic. Cleveland, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it leaves a bad look and a bad taste in everyone's mouth. And just because it happened doesn't mean everyone needs to know about it. And like you're saying, the mere fact that you're not seeing the ramifications and the significance of what you're saying is also disappointing for someone that's a professional athlete that you're paying tens of millions of dollars to.
Yeah, man, it's pretty crazy, man. You want to take a break or you want to speak through the show,
man? Quick break. I'll be right back.
Yes, sir. Fans, we'll take a little quick break. You guys didn't see the introduction at the beginning of the show, so we give it to you now.
Who am I speaking to right now?
Cameron.
My name's Cameron.
Cam Buford.
I'm a Dolphin fan.
This is a big year for Tua to prove that he's a franchise quarterback.
I'm more a fan of boxing. Boxing is my main sport.
As a competitor, how much does that competitive spirit get in there and say, I want to fight this guy. I want to get some of this guy.
Of course, I want to fight all the guys. Of course that. But at the same time, like I keep telling you, it's a business.
Talk about that loyalty for a moment.
I'm standing there to try to make a change. Give back to the youth, get back to my community and show them that there is hope that you can make it out. Only thing is you just got to be dedicated. You got to keep your head down and stay on this course that you're heading towards.
Think about it like this. The promoter pays the fighter. The fighter pays the manager.
Okay.
So Manager work for the fighter. The fighter
Work for the promoter. Okay.
If you can see, you can believe.
So you are lifting weights currently?
When he said it's easier to score in the NBA versus Europe, did you agree with him?
To me, it's easy to score all over the world.
On your team, is ball number 2 option or your number 3 option? On your Heisman team. 30 nights a year, he's my number 1 option. 30 nights.
Can I finish?
Right now?
Do you want me to speak or do you want to conduct the interview and answer for me? Which one?
What do you think about these upcoming?
Okay. Like I was saying before.
Well, every game's a new game, so each one's a different experience, different defense, different players, different game plan. So.
Aaron, what has the game of baseball taught you?
One of the biggest things is being humble.
Or can you give a message to the kids to kind of persevere through the false teachings they may be giving?
Patience.
Okay.
Patience.
As the show voice of the fan,
Oh my goodness!
continues to evolve.
Come on, you were adding some spice to it.
It is strictly banter back and forth between myself and Cameron Buford.
I enjoy all of it.
Real ones know what's going on, right?
Like you said, Pacific Northwest, so I think it's a big part of my game. And every time I step on the floor, I just want to represent myself.
You play this game and you don't turn to win a championship, then why are you playing for?
I'm happy for the Mariners. I'm happy
Yeah,
for all
yeah,
that.
no, yeah, Cam, nobody.
Never mind.
Go watch the tape. Go watch the tape, and then you tell me if it was all about just a system.
Look like a buffoon.
Go do your research. Go do your study.
I'm not caught up to you guys yet. I do
Knowing real surprised at that, Cam.
Hey, come here. It's okay.
Oh, this guy.
That's what's good in sports, man. It's the big Snoop Dogg, man.
That's what's good in sports. Hey, man, thanks for making our voice your choice. You know how we do.
That's my guy Snoop. You see my guy Snoop in there. Snoop, you see my guy Snoop in the shot. That's what's good in sports. Yeah, you're right, SB. Some things are better off just not said. You know, you don't have to tell everybody everything you're thinking. And that was a problem with Lou.
Yeah, and then again, you know, Cam, as I've been thinking about it, I think probably, you know, the thing that's even harder for, you know, people of, you know, our generation and age is like, it seems like he was oblivious to his comments. Like, it was like he wasn't really understanding the gravity of what it was that he was saying. He basically said that they just didn't play hard because they didn't want to be there. Well, and so whenever you're telling the whole world that you didn't give it your all because you wanted to be somewhere else and spend your time more constructively doing what exactly? Not sure, but this is kind of your job and your occupation. You have an obligation to perform for any number of reasons, but you just.
So he said that he made those comments on Gilbert Arenas' podcast.
Oh, really?
And yeah, and I'm not a fan.
How ironic.
I mean, so listen, I'm not a huge fan of the Gilbert Arenas podcast. I'm not he does get the players to open up clearly because he got no, actually I take it back. That's where I heard the comment at, but he said it on your guy Ice Trey's podcast. That's who he said it. He said it on that. I just heard it when Gilbert Arenas was talking about it with who did the Clippers trade? Kenyon Martin. I was thinking Clippers traded his son, but he was talking about it with Kenyon Martin. And actually that they were making a point, which again, I'm not a huge fan of the I would not recommend the Gilbert Arenas podcast. However, in this certain situation, they were factually correct. Gilbert Arenas was at least that, like, there's no reason that you should have this attitude. You should have the attitude to go to the bubble, and play your heart out because it does mean a championship. At the end of it all, there is a championship at the, in the distance. and you were there. Since you're going to be there, might as well play for the championship. That's what Arenas' thinking was along with Kenyon Martin. Bimbo Coles, or was it Bimbo Coles? Norris Coles, the point guard for the Miami Heat. The old point guard was Norris Coles, I think it was.
Norris. Yeah.
He mentioned that they were in Disneyland. He's pointing out they were in Disneyland. They were on.
And he makes it seem like they were locked up like Shawshank Redemption, and
right,
just
exactly.
No lights, didn't have anything.
Right, they were in Disneyland in the plushest hotels. All the food that they want, all the finest dining that they have. They're in Disneyland. They just couldn't leave Disneyland.
And the thing that we're not even pointing out, and you already know, it just goes into the sense of entitlement that athletes have, and this is just,
that's
unfortunately such a stark reminder of it.
Coles was actually pointing out. He's like, I played overseas. I was in France at the time, and we could not go anywhere. We couldn't leave our house unless it was in practice and the game. Period. We could not go anywhere. We didn't have a choice. We couldn't go down to the hotel pool. We can go to the hotel lounge. We couldn't go have some drinks on Disneyland on the campus, Mickey Mouse's campus. We could not go anywhere, and that's what his point was.
They made the bubble as accommodating as it could possibly be,
and then Gilbert's
given the set of circumstances that were going on in the world, still was not enough for Lou. He was like, man, I got other stuff that I would rather be doing. So I'll just tank these games so that we don't have to be here that long.
That was so freaking embarrassing, Lou Williams. I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in Lou. I'm very disappointed in Lou that he would make the statement. And again, Cleveland, I make the point that all this stuff, okay, it's 3 years after the point, and we're identifying this. But he said this last week. So, Lou, you don't recognize by the time when you guys came out of the bubble and the next year was gone, Lou, you don't recognize that, man, maybe we should have gave it our all. Maybe the next season, maybe we should have played that situation a little harder. You don't recognize that, Lou? And then not only that, once you retire from the game, Lou, and you're down in Atlanta and you guys aren't winning games, you guys aren't in playoff contention, you don't recognize, Lou, maybe we should have played that championship series when we had a legitimate chance to win the championship. We should have played that situation a bit harder. Lou, okay, if you don't recognize that at the end of the season, at the end of that next season, Lou, when does it smack you? When does that reality smack you, or has it still not smacked you? And you mentioned this on a podcast? Come on, Lou. You can't. Come on, Lou. I'm disappointed in myself. I'm disappointed. I got another story. I'm not gonna share. I can't share that. There's another. I don't want to say it's disappointing. It's just kind of a factual statement about Lou. I can't share that podcast. As much as I love you guys, I want to give you guys good, great content. I'm not going to share that. Cleavon, in this segment, we like to do This Week in History, kind of give everybody a history lesson on some of the things that happen in the world, some of the things that either happen in the world we may have been forgotten or may have got overlooked, but these are just significant things that happened this week in history. Cleveland, November 16, 1780, Paul Cuff and other black taxpayers of Massachusetts protest the state legislator against taxation without representation, demanding the right to vote. So they're being taxed. Black folks were being taxed and paying their taxpayer dollars for representation in legislation, but they didn't have the right to vote. So they're patting other people's pockets, which is, this is 1780. They decide to make this protest. in Massachusetts. Cleveland, 11/20/1962. President Kennedy issued an executive order barring racial discrimination in federally financed housing. So there was racial discrimination, Cleveland, way back in 1962. As we know, it goes way before then. But President Kennedy decided to issue an executive order barring racial discrimination in federally financed housing. So the projects, essentially, they decided that let's pull our racial discrimination. Let's pull that from the projects, which are, again, government funded housing. 11/20/1923, African American inventor Garrett A. Morgan was credited with several useful inventions, including the traffic signal. Received a patent for this invention. So Garrett Morgan received a patent for the traffic signal back in 1923. 11/17/2003, Cleveland. I can say that most African Americans was kind of ashamed to hear this news. John Allen Muhammad, the DC sniper, was convicted of shooting to death Dean Myers at a patrol station in Manassas, Virginia, on October 9, 2002, and murdering at least one other person. Where were you when you heard that news?
Can't recall when I heard that, and I always feel bad for laughing at the Chris Rock joke when he says, we finally made it to the big time because, the DC sniper is one of serial killers. Like, oh, wow. Because you never think of,
you don't
really taking, those type of actions to that extent. Like, that's just something that just hasn't ever happened. And then once he did it, it was just like huge. It was, wow. It was shocking.
You don't. So I'm gonna ask you this question. Are you you got the F1 series in Vegas this weekend? NASCAR, does that interest you at all? Funny car, does that interest you at all? Richard Petty drove the final race of his 35-year career on November 15, 1992. Have you ever been interested in auto racing?
I have never really been that interested in auto racing. There are a few personalities that I kind of pay a little bit more attention to when they're dominant and kind of who they are, so to speak. Like, I guess if we're speaking from a NASCAR perspective, Jeff Gordon, when he was doing his thing, winning NASCAR Cups, and, one of the few that will just come out and say, yeah, I listen to, Jay-Z. Yeah, I like things about Black culture, when like that was like such a taboo thing in NASCAR. So it was like, oh, okay. Interesting. I kind of follow him, and plus he was winning all the time. So it's like, okay, I didn't really feel too much for the other racers, the NASCAR drivers, and I never really felt like, oh, I want to go to Talladega, or I want to go to wherever and watch a race. So I was like, it's probably not something I want to do. I had some fans that went to a couple of NASCAR races. They said they were phenomenal, but they always went to them in like real outskirt places, not outskirt, but like, Phoenix or Vegas or, LA. It's like, okay, you didn't really get in the trenches and like, Win Dixie when the, when the Confederate.
Hey, watch Win Dixie. Hey. You can't laugh at Win Dixie, man.
I'm sorry. You are in Alabama. Excuse me.
So Win Dixie has some of the best shopping, man. Win Dixie is one of the better grocery stores around.
I forgot where you were doing the show from. Excuse me. Yeah,
you gotta watch it. In all seriousness, so I just gave you the stat, but auto racing is not. I grew up
I like
with
color to it, and
it was around. Yes, I was invited. So yes, I'm not an auto racing fan, but I was invited to. I'll give you guys a quick breakdown of my auto racing experience. I was invited to a racetrack that had in Fontana, California. It's probably hour and a half east, maybe hour and 15 minutes east of Los Angeles. They have a racetrack. They have the racetrack, a NASCAR racetrack. So the NASCAR event the NASCAR race on Sunday is an event. I'm not sure how much of where you are of this, but that's like the final of the whole weekend, from the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is a NASCAR race, right? But that Thursday and Friday, if you pay enough money, you can take your Dodge Dart, your souped up Charger, your whatever you worked on, you can race the track, at least go around the track, right? Not race, but you can rip around the track. So they have there's stages, whether it's the guys who it's not by dollar, but I think it's by experience. The guys with 1 to 3 years of experience can take their Dodge Dart out there and race. The guys with 5 to 7 years of experience, they can take their more souped up car and race, right? Because the more experience you have, the less likely you are to run into somebody, right? I went to this event we went to Thursday and a Friday. I didn't, and the Saturday. So I saw the mom and pop shops working on the grandson's car to get the grandson a chance to race. I saw everything from the souped up Chevy. Was it the Chevy Vega? Was it the Chevy Vega or the Ford Vega? What was the Vega? The little almost hatchback car. I can't remember. Chevy Ford, whatever. One of those. The Vega.
I want to see the Chevy.
Oh, it was the Vega. So these guys worked on this souped up, and I just couldn't understand. Like, I couldn't get it in my head. Okay, these guys are putting $40,000 into this Vega, and they're gonna race it and try to blow the engine. Like, I'm like, that. I put 40 grand into this. I want to cruise this around town. I want to have this for a little while, right? I'm not going to go try to go race it and then burn up the tires, do the smoke show, and then there's your whole set of tires that you have to replace in 2 to 3 days. Like, that just didn't compute with me. Some people find that enjoyment. We get the $450 tires, and then you're going to smoke them up, and then you have to go buy a new set next week. Like, I don't know. That doesn't make a lot of sense in my opinion. However, that's what they're doing. So we walk around the pits, as they call it, and from here in the pits, you can go from, again, the mom and pop shop car to the car that they're actually working on to test drive on Saturday to make the race on Sunday. So you can go to all these, and then you can ask, like, there's people with gas masks. Will you start up the car? Can I hear it? Can I hear the way your engine sounds? And then these guys are listening for, well, I have to check my carburetor because it's making a weird sound, and you hear the it shouldn't be making that sound. I'm like, geez, you guys are way too much into this. One dude had the gas mag. The guys have the exhaust. He had like the super muffler, exhaust muffler coming out. And instead of the muffler, just comes up right out the back part of your car, this muffler was wrapped around and it came above the rear well, and it's a big exhaust. The exhaust must have been this big on both sides of it. The guy with his gas mask sticks his face right in the muffler. It's like, step on the gas. I'm like, come on, man. Like, I don't get this part. You guys are overdoing me. And again, I watched them race the funny car, and the car is $60,000 that they put into this car. And they're gonna race between the tires, between the engine, the prepping the engine, between the body of the car. Now the body, they can remake the body pretty quickly and easily because it's fiberglass. You can just, a couple coats of Bondo, set it in, and you got a new body. But these guys, the funny cars, you know what that race is, right? 0 to 60 in how many seconds? Now, again, there's different stages. Is it the what year? I think what year is the car? The 70 to 1977 car races, the 81 to 90 races. Then it's the 90 to 2000 races. It's the years of the car that's racing. These guys are stepping on the car, and I'm like, my man tells me, Yeah, Cam, check. You gotta watch this, man. These guys are putting their whole weekend is going into this race right here. They traveled miles and hundreds of miles away to race this race their car right here this weekend. One guy steps on the gas, the whole car goes up in flames. He's like, that was a bad week. I said, you think? You think? Like, they put $80,000 into this car, drove 800 miles to race this car, and he steps on the gas. You know, as soon as like doo 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 doo, he steps on the gas and the car goes up in flames. Like, well, we'll drive to North Carolina next weekend and try to do it again. Like, come on, man. Like that would be kind of demoralizing to me personally. So that was the funny cars. But I went to another event at the AAA track in Fontana. I didn't know, Cleavon. This was a NASCAR event. This was a NASCAR event that had this had everything you wanted. The tailgaters. This had the tailgaters, and you could buy tickets to inside the circle, and you can camp out around the circle. Those tickets are like $450, where you can drive your camper inside the circle and do your tailgating inside there. Like, I never went in there, but from the outskirts, you can see how they're celebrating inside there, right? Outside the track, there's people for, the far as I could see, campers and trucks and tailgating outside. I was like, wow, these guys are coming out. And I'm talking about campers, like they're there from Thursday to Tuesday, because this is all a weekend experience right there. I didn't know though. I got a chance to go. I had the pass where I could go inside the center track and I could get down there and party if I wanted to. I can go down into the pits down below. I could be standing outside this is the first time I've seen this, when the car pulls up and the person with the 20 gallons of gas on their shoulder jumps in there and sticks it in the gas tank and fills it up while the pit crew is doing their thing, jacking up the tires, jacking up the car, changing their tires, all this like in 20 seconds. Bananas. To see this like up front is different when you see it up front in person versus seeing it on TV, right? So I had the pass where you can kind of go everywhere. The pass, so leaving after the race was over, I wanted to get down, and I was actually trying to see if I can get sprayed with the champagne after the race was over. I wanted to see how close I can get to these guys celebrating. It's kind of what I was trying to. I got kind of close, but close enough to take some solid pictures. But I didn't know. So after that was over, we can then walk across the track, and exit across the track instead of taking the footbridge all the way to the top. Blah blah blah. I didn't know they're like on a embankment. That embankment is like at a 40-degree angle. Yeah. I didn't know that. Like I thought until that moment, I thought it was all flat oval. I thought it was all flat oval. No, that embankment. There's an embankment there, like 40 degrees, 45 degrees, like literally, like it's a literal embankment. Like it's not. It is wild. So that was my experience with auto racing. I just want to throw that in there to get your experience with auto racing. But that's a whole deal, man. That's a weekend event. If you spend any time in the auto racing field, believe me, those guys is coming out there have spent a lot of money to race their cars. And what we see on Sunday, what is televised on Sunday, is typically the NASCAR races, which was in Fontana. But there's a whole event from Thursday to Sunday where everybody gets a chance. If you have a car and you're trying to race it, you're going there Thursday, Friday, Saturday to try to get your car raced and spend a lot of money, man. If to get it raced, and if something goes wrong, now next week you're doing this all again. And depending on how much money you got, you might be tightening it up and then try to get out there and race the next weekend, depending on where the races are. Like that's a wild industry, man. It's a lot of money bouncing around that industry too.
So Cam, I mean, when you say all that, I mean, what does that have to say about Formula One then, right? Which I was never really.
Formula One's a whole different.
I was never really paying attention to until Lewis Hamilton. black man started winning some races and some championships. And I'll never forget last year when Miami came to town for the first time, and they said that race made more money for the Dolphins owner than the entire season.
Oh, when the F1 came to town, yes.
Yeah,
and that's
race.
Oh my goodness gracious. That's so the F1 takes NASCAR is like times 10.
Times 10. Yeah, and so much more like fanfare, like dignitaries come out,
yes, like because there's money now.
Come out and watch.
The NASCAR is kind of like the NASCAR is like the American circuit. Like we're over here with the American cars, American, American engineering. We're over here goofing around, right? But the F1 is involved with the Mercedes Benz, the Peugeot,
Ferrari,
right?
Yes.
The Ferrari, right? That's top of the line. that's top of the line stuff. That's like we got the we got our Chevys, our Fords, right? Our muscle cars that may cost, what our muscle cars cost, 50, 60 grand. Well, what is your top of the line Mercedes Benz cost? What is your top of the line Audi cost? I mean, that there's a little difference there. There's a little difference there. And then it's a whole different world. That's a whole different world. Like you say, they come over there, they came over here, and Ross is looking to have that again. No wonder Vegas is having the F1 this weekend. And I don't know, I'm gonna get to it here in a minute, but no wonder F1 is having it this weekend. And I bet you F1 has another event in America next year as well. Like somebody,
I think they've redone it in Vegas so that it's going to be an annual thing. This is not like a one shot.
No, I don't. I could be wrong. So Cleveland, I went to the fight in Vegas, and the fight Crawford Spence was July. It was the end of July. My mom's birthday, the 30th, so it was July 29th. Right? They're planning for that race back then. The Uber and Lyft drivers were pissed off. They're tearing up. They got the roads all messed up because they're preparing for this F1 series that's coming, right? They're taking down, I don't know when the last time you've been to Vegas, but down Las Vegas Boulevard, the main median, right? They put a divider in. They must have did this 5-6 years ago. They put a divider down the whole strip where you cannot run across the strip anymore. You couldn't. Years ago, you used to be able to run across the strip. But then probably it's 2000. So probably say 2010, probably 10 years ago, they put this divider in, like with trees and plants and little fencing. Like you can no longer run across the strip anymore. To cut that out, they tore all that up for this F1, for the F1 race. All that came up for the F1. Again, I haven't been there since July, but all that was coming up in for the F1 race. Okay. The other, that's a main strip, but the other main street was being torn up and reconstructed to accommodate for the traffic because Las Vegas Boulevard was being torn up. So I don't know, from my understanding, is they're putting that back, but I don't know. Who knows? I guarantee though, another city in America will have the F1 race in 2024. I guarantee it. And we'll keep tabs on it. And I don't know if they're gonna as far as I know, that divider is going back because that's a safety issue. Many people walking up and down the strip. You can't have people running back and forth across the street, right? And not everybody takes the overpass, the what is it called? The airwalk where you can walk up the stairs and then walk the footbridge or whatever. Not everybody takes the footbridge. Now, if they open that back up, people are going to be running across the street again. And there's a reason that they stopped that to begin with. So as we continue, Cleveland, 11/15/1991, Ricky Pierce, Seattle Supersonics began his free throw streak of 75 games. That happened 11/15/1991. 11/15/1998, Barry Sanders with the then Detroit Lions registered his 5th straight 100-yard rushing game. It was his 75th of his career. Just for context, I should have looked up who had the most 100-yard games of his career. Just for context. Cleveland. Michigan said that Harbaugh got suspended for 3 games. They had a interim coach come in there. Dude was crying after he got the win. I don't know what he was crying for, but he was crying after they got the win. Harbaugh was suspended for sign stealing 3 games. I don't know. Have you heard about the injunction? Is he going to be able to coach this weekend? But is it fair or foul that Harbaugh gets penalized 3 games for sign stealing?
It's fair. The timing was kind of weird because they kind of made sure that they did it so that he would have to at least serve the 1 game, and that the way the legal process works, you knew they weren't going to be able to appeal anytime soon for him to at least coach that game. So this next game, he's doing it on a Friday. I don't think they can really make a decision that quickly, but they will have enough that he will coach against Ohio State.
What I mean, Harbaugh, take the 3 games, bro. Be back. It was 3 regular season games. It was regular season games.
He's not going to miss the Ohio State game. He's going to get this team into the playoff, and then he'll be in Chicago next year. So, did his part.
Jimbo gets an axe, but Jimbo Fisher gets an axe in Texas A&M, your town. $76 million buyout. Like, they got 30 days to pay him like $20 million. Then another 60 days to give him $17 million. And then he gets like 1.1 for the next like 20 years to equate to the total of $76 million. It's bananas. This is bananas. I think I might apply for a job at Texas A&M. Just let me coach there a year and make sure I get bought out of that deal. Do you believe it when Deion says he's not hearing the phone calls from other schools?
No. We talked about this already, right?
Yeah, you said he's outgrown Colorado.
And who did I say would be calling?
Okay, and so answer this question for me. Is him saying that like he told the Detroit Lions they're gonna have to put him on layaway if they were to draft him?
No, he truly meant that. There was nothing that was going to send him to Detroit. I don't care. No, this is different.
I mean, what's different? He's in Colorado, a place where my kids go to school there. I get mail in Colorado. I got a daughter that goes to school here. My sons go to school here. I'm good.
I'm so sorry, Cameron. How did we start this Texas A&M conversation out?
With the
Jimbo
buyout?
Fisher got a $76 million buyout for getting fired for not doing what they asked him to do. $76 million for you to just leave and never come back.
Did you hear?
That is not even taking into consideration how much money they will pay the next coach.
Did you hear the? Yes, you're right. Did you hear the? What is it? The AD, him explaining kind of why
they were stuck in neutral. You gotta understand, Texas A&M runs like an NFL payroll down there.
No, but did you hear Dog say it like we just weren't making the progress that we thought? Dog, you guys ain't won a NCAA championship in 100 years. I think it was 1923. In fact, it was been a century since you guys has won. You guys haven't been in contention. The last time Texas A&M was in the top 25 poll.
No. You forget about Johnny Football days. So they had a Heisman Trophy winner. They had a team that beat Alabama. They had
contention.
That's contention. They had a team with Jokel and Manziel and Mike Evans and some real serious talent
No.
when Sumlin was coaching them.
What did they
Just
win?
couldn't get
Is what I'm
over.
saying.
No, they won a few games. They weren't
in a boat. They weren't in a
got to that 10-game threshold a few times. And what their thought was is that, well, if money is no object, well, then we'll just buy the championship.
We'll just buy it.
And how do you do it? You pay the players and you get the best coach that money can buy. And they've done both of those things, and it hasn't equated to success. And so they have to, because they've told all these people that if you give us all this money, we're going to get these people that are going to do this. And then 3 or 4 years later, it's like, hey, man, where are we here? Like, oh, no, I'm not what we promised. So
dude was just so he was. I called you Lazar Fair talking about your Huskies going to in their championship opportunities. Dude was like, yeah, man, we're just not where we are, and we're just gonna pay him, and we're gonna hire the next coach, and we got to do better next time. Oh, there's $76 million on the table, and he's just like, yeah, we got to do better next time.
And when he's saying it, how is he saying it? Like, it's not your money, so don't worry about it.
Like, yeah,
we're gonna do what we're gonna do over here, and
we just already do better next time.
Yeah, we already have our mindset, and hey, man, that didn't work out, so we're going to about face and go in a different direction. So we already know who the number one. Actually, that buyout had such a ripple effect over college football, even up here at Montlake. I mean, the University of Washington called our head coach and called his agent like, hey, I know, I already know. We have to talk, man.
Let's get you some on paper.
Just doubled. Congratulations, your pay just doubled. If you will please stay. And I'm not even saying we have enough money, but can we at least open the conversation? Because your pay just doubled.
Well,
okay, you're number 1 on their list. Dion is number 2 on their list. Urban Meyer is number 3 on their list.
Urban Meyer, you think Urban Meyer is going to coach again?
They will get one of those 3 coaches. Either Caleb DeBoer, Deion Sanders, or Urban Meyer will be coaching Texas A&M next year.
So does the AD up there? I mean, we know that your one AD.
It's a new AD. Our AD cut out and went to SC.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Did the AD? Does the AD up there? Do they have any job protection, or is like you better get?
We just hired him. Our AD is like less than like a month into his job.
Less than a month. Like the lady cut out last year, I thought.
No, she cut out after the Big 12 deal was brokered. Like
that last year.
After. No, this year.
Like before the season started.
No, so it's like the season started and then like the deal was brokered to go to the Big 12. And then like within like a week, she was gone.
And she was new. She was up there 2 years.
No, she was up there. She was up here quite a while.
No, was she?
Yeah.
All right, man. It's a wild situation. So, prediction: Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan State, Florida. So you guys really got your eyeballs on that Michigan Ohio State game to see if you guys can sneak into the top 4 there, huh? But the Oregon State Beavers, they're in the way. They're in the way. You guys got to go to Corvallis. And I mean, it could be a little trap game-ish. That could be a little trap game-ish because that Apple Cup is gaining a lot more significance every day that goes by, isn't it?
Cameron, this is the scaredest I've been to go to Corvallis, Oregon since Chad Johnson, TJ Hushmanzada, and Steven Jackson are up there.
What about
and Dennis Erickson was coaching them?
Didn't Blunt? What was Blunt's name? Didn't Blunt go to Oregon State?
He went to Oregon. LeGarrette Blunt went to Oregon. He punched the guy at Boise State. Got suspended for like 8 games.
He punched the guy at Oregon State. Okay.
No, he punched the guy at Boise State when he was at Oregon.
Oh, I thought it was in Oregon State. Running those fools over. Oof. Okay. I mean, this seems like a little trap game-ish. Because I know that
it can't be a trap game because everybody's on full alert. Trap games are when you're looking ahead to somebody else. No. Oh no.
What's your prediction? Give us a score. Give us a score in Corvallis. Penix don't know nothing about this Northwest rivalry.
He knows all about it. It's the second full season. My score is 38-35.
Your defense ain't getting it done, bro. I'm sorry. Defense ain't getting it done this season.
They're doing the best they can. I think that people don't really understand that unlike USC's defense, this defense is on the field a lot of the time because the offense scores so quickly.
Stop it. Don't give me that. Don't give me that. Don't give me that.
Way more snaps.
Don't give me that. They have a decent.
Than they were prepared for.
They have a different
they were not prepared for the offense being able to score the way it does. Those guys are on the field all the time.
Oh my god! Come on, man. That sounds like a cop out. So okay, you don't want to say you're worried.
But that's not to say that their defense isn't bad because I don't think their defense is very good. But just make enough stops to, win a 38-35 game. That's all I'm hoping for.
Who's the Heisman? Who's the leader in the clubhouse for the Heisman? Is it Jalen Milroe, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jalen Daniels at LSU? No, did you see his numbers that he put up the other day, last week? He had 350 yards passing and like 280 rushing, dog. Did you see that?
Yeah, I mean, it was cool. I mean, I watched when Marcus Tuias up and went for 300 and 200. It was super impressive. I've also seen Mr. Daniels not perform well when the lights are bright. So,
here you go.
I mean, straight up, no disrespect to my LSU brethren down there. I got plenty of family down there in that area, but no.
Penix ain't blowing nobody out. He's winning games in the last second games, hoping the defense can stop somebody. That's not Heisman Trophy-ish.
Yeah, it is actually. It's Heisman Trophy-ish. Receivers can't throw the ball to themselves, and very rarely do they win the Heisman. I think the last one was Tim Brown.
I mean, what is Harrison doing? Where's he at? Is he like 1,600 yards or something? He played a few more games.
Oh, for real, is he? I don't keep track of that kind of stuff, man. He's not really just blowing the world away. So, and if his name was Marvin, Nelson Jr., you wouldn't be saying the same thing.
So that sounds like you're trying to take something away from his pops. Then I wouldn't say that about Marvin. Marvin got he's.
I know Marvin keeps the Rugers on him, so I'm not trying to.
Hey, that wasn't me. That wasn't me, Marvin.
Don't get it twisted. No, I know what Marvin's capable of. I'm not trying to start nothing. I'm just saying if this receiver from Ohio State's name wasn't Marvin Harrison Jr., probably wouldn't be talking about the Heisman.
Hey, that ain't me. I didn't say that, Marvin.
Good receiver and could go very high in the draft next year.
Hey, that's my co-host. That's not me, Marvin, saying that.
Marv, don't let Cam try and skew the situation. I never said nothing bad about your son. Nothing at all.
Man, way to call him out there. Hey, Marvin. Hey, Harrison Jr. He's Heisman Trophy candidate.
Cam, cut that out.
He's Heisman Trophy candidate.
I don't deal with Marvin Harrison types. I don't deal with the Pouncey brothers. I don't do that kind of stuff.
I don't know what you did. I mean, you talking pretty bold over there, Harrison. That wasn't me. I think that kid from Ohio State is a Heisman Trophy winner.
It was simply an analogy to point out that if it was someone else.
Hey, he looked like a Heisman Trophy to me, Marvin. He looked like a Heisman Trophy winner to me, Marvin. I'm all for him. Marvin for a Heisman. Harrison. I don't care what his last name is.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and suck up, homie. Yeah, I know how you do.
Cleveland. All right, I got a personal vendetta I want to speak on right now. Give me some moments, man. I need your feedback. Who are your favorite NFL commentators? I'm gonna name a few. Aikman and Buck. I know you prefer Aikman and Buck over Peyton and Eli. I like Peyton and Eli. You need to give them a chance. You still haven't gave Peyton and Eli a chance. You need to give them a chance, man. You need to give them a chance. They asked Patrick Mahomes. They said, "I heard you don't wash your underwear for big games." He says, "Well, it's home games that I don't wash the underwear for, and it's since we went on a winning streak. Like, if you go on a winning streak, like you can't wash the underwear, right?" That was pretty comical. They again talking to players, they got Keyshawn Johnson telling them when he was screaming at Drew Bledsoe when he was a Cowboy, what that screaming in his face looked like they were about to fight. They made him break down kind of what the video, what was he saying to Bledsoe in the video? Like, you remember that. You have to remember that situation. So they get players to talk a little bit. You gotta give Peyton and Eli a chance. You gotta give them a chance. You heard Aikman and Buck. You know what they're gonna say when Aikman says, "Oh, the offense stinks. The Jets have one of the better defenses in the league." You already knew that. You didn't need Aikman to confirm that for you, did you? Peyton and Eli, man, they bring so much more than what Buck. I like Buck and Aikman. If I'm forced to listen to those guys, they're probably one of the better ones I would rather listen to. But Peyton and Eli are bringing something different to the conversation. That's why I like them. Romo and Lance. What's your thoughts on Romo and Lance?
They've gotten, I liked them in the beginning. They've gotten a little bit kind of overboard with it, so to speak.
Romo sucks.
I think initially it was a cool kind of experiment, and I like what kind of Romo brought to the table. But I have to admit, Greg Olson, from the U is starting to grow on me a little bit.
I don't dislike Greg Olson. I like Greg Olson and Burkhardt. Like, I was surprised that they did the championship game last season. I think it was
it's only because the Super Bowl wasn't there. If they didn't do the Super Bowl, I mean,
was it the Super Bowl? It wasn't. No, it was a championship game.
You're right, because this is Buck and Aikman's first year at ESPN. Yeah, so
they I like those two. I like that's a good combination. Eisen and McCourty, Rich Eisman and McCourty on NFL Network. They sound like Eisman. Obviously, you're familiar with Eisman from ESPN, so he sounds like your brother or uncle doing the show, like somebody you know. McCourty and Eisman carries it for sure. Tirico and Collinsworth, what's your thoughts?
It used to be cool. I think Collinsworth has kind of lost his edge a little bit. He's starting to sound a little
cliche,
a little contrite
and gimmicky to me.
It used to be a little bit better. I think when he was with Al Michaels, I think he was a little bit better than with Tirico. And speaking of which, that one over at Amazon is starting to get a little bit better, because in the beginning it just seemed like Al didn't really like Kirk Herbstreit, and so it just seemed very like confrontational the way they were doing the games. It's like, okay, right. Over the weeks it's kind of softened up a little bit, so you get a little. I think
I'm gonna have to give Mike Tirico. This is I know a weird thing to say, fellow Syracuse alum. He does too much. He's on too much. Like he's on golf, he's on basketball, he's on baseball. Like pick a sport, Mike. Pick a sport, and
that's what you do when you get to that level. You're the voice of all the sports. He's doing the Bob Costas thing.
You don't have to do everything. Settle down.
You don't have to, but if you're good enough to do everything, then
settle down, bro. Settle down, bro. Take some time off.
Wow.
And that's kind of
says that you're okay with it,
huh?
So Jim Nance does it. You're okay with it?
No, I didn't say it. Jim Nance and Tony Romo. That's the worst combination of the ones we listed.
No, but I'm saying Jim Nance does all the sports. Mike Tirico does all the sports. Does the Olympics?
Yeah. Again, pick something and stick with it. Yeah, Romo. I'm not a fan of Romo and Lance. I guess Lance isn't bad. I don't like Romo. Collinsworth. like I heard enough for Collinsworth. Like, okay, bro, your time is up. I heard enough of you. All right. Aikman, I'm not. I don't listen to them every week. That's why I'm not to that point with Aikman and Buck. Buck has grown on me over the years. I was
I got somebody that does everything. Wow.
Again, I don't listen to him all the time. I don't listen. That's what I'm saying. I don't listen to him all the time. But Buck has grown on me over the years. I had some animosity because he was given his job, from his pops. That's essentially how he got his job. His pops passed it down to him. But he's kind of grown on me, and yes, he does do a whole lot. But I don't listen to him. Like I told you, I'd rather listen to Eli and Peyton. I bring that up because I want to go into this topic of your radio personalities. The radio personalities. Now, listening to radio years ago was Greenberg and Golick. Like, I really like that combination of Golick and Greenberg because clearly Golick played, and this is before they kind of blew up and sports radio became everything. But I like the combination where Greenberg didn't understand what playing sports was about, and Mike Golick clearly played. He was a defensive tackle. Clearly was having to coach Greenberg up on what playing the game was about. Like, I thought that was a good back and forth, right? A good combination of talent. Greenberg was much better, I thought, on radio. I don't like him on TV. Dan Patrick and the Danettes. What's your thoughts on Golick and Greenberg?
I didn't get into it too much. I kind of understood the odd couple, kind of thing that they were trying to go for, and kind of like the allure of that, and that was cool. But I wasn't too into Mike and Mike. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Dan Patrick and the Danettes. Do you like that show?
It's okay. I mean, I liked Dan Patrick, obviously, when he was with Keith Olbermann, that was kind of like, that was,
that was a good combo. That was
a good combo.
I like Dan Patrick, and I like the group that they have because he lets the other guys like be a part of the show. Like, he bounces stuff off of them, right? He obviously is the main character, but he bounces stuff off the other guys, so that makes that show cool. Doug Gottlieb is another guy. Mad Dog Russo, Paul Feinbaum. What you think of those guys?
Not so much into those cats. I mean, as we're kind of bantering back and forth, I think it's making me realize how much I miss Jalen and Jacoby. I thought that was a real good combo.
That was an excellent combo.
Bringing, those different
cultural
demographics, and socioeconomic backgrounds together, and they, I thought that they complemented each other quite well.
Yeah, I mean, Jacoby, he's not even with ESPN no more. He's on Fox now. He's on Fox. But yeah, Max and Marcellus, I thought was a great show. Scott Farrell, you ever listen to Scott Farrell? You ever heard him?
Not familiar.
You're not familiar with Scott Farrell? I tried to interview him. Scott Farrell. He's a oh my goodness. He's a fire. Oh my goodness. He's hysterical. Scott Farrell. Scratchy voice. He's hysterical. He came to a boxing match in flip flops and shorts. Like, dog. Like, come on, dog. He's that type of dude. Max and Marcellus. Max Kellerman, Marcellus Wiley. That was another kind of like Jalen and Jacoby, but these were two smart dudes who went to Columbia together. That was a good combination. You ever hear those guys?
I heard a little bit of every once in a while. I'm not a big Fox guy, so I've heard of.
No, they actually were on ESPN in LA for about 5 years.
So they were doing that. Okay, and then Marcellus went to Fox.
Yeah.
I probably have heard them a time or two.
Their show was really good. Arnie Spaniard, you ever heard of Arnie Spaniard? He was a guy. He bounced around. He's the antagonist. He's out in Vermont or Connecticut right now. But he bounced around. He comes on Fox and like on Sundays. But he had the show in LA. He built I think it was 2000, 2002, 2003 with the last Kobe Shaq championship. whatever, what 2002? Because they won 2000. They won 2000. What 2001 2002. Again, antagonist dude from New York. He said the Lakers would not win the championship if the Lakers. He bet the city. What show was the best? What show was the best ESPN had? What show was that? SB. But Arnie Spanier said the Lakers will not win the championship. If the Lakers win the championship, I'll wash everybody's car in Los Angeles. Duh. So he had a day. He had a day where he spent out the car. I wish I could have went to that event with that one day because I wanted to see him physically. I actually met dude. I wanted to see him physically wash the car, but he had a day where the car wash. If you heard the show, you could pull up and get your car washed. Right. I'm sure it wasn't him washing the car. I wish I could have proven that though. But he was like, man. After that, I had to quit because my shoulder hurt. My shoulder hurt for the next 3 weeks for washing all the cars that came through and said they heard the show. Like that was hysterical. That was hysterical. But for you to say that in Los Angeles, like when they had Shaq and Kobe, like dog, like when they had Shaq and Kobe, and they probably shouldn't have. They could have won 5 like that 92, 93 Cowboy team. They could have won 5 in a row. Like they legitimately could have won 5 in a row. That's what those Lakers were on that path. And for you to say that, dog, that was outrageous. His and hers, I like Jamel Hill. I thought Jamel Hill was great with skipping and Stephen A. I thought she was excellent with skipping and his and hers. I think they try to do too much. I think they try to do a little too much.
I did also like Dan Lebatard is highly questionable. Like when he would bring up
that was one of
and then Poppy.
Oh, we got to get to it because I did send you some Dan Lebatard. Dan Lebatard is hysterical. Dan Lebatard is hysterical, and I like now that he's kind of took a boss position and kind of filter some of his stuff out. He still works, but he filters most of his stuff out to people that he brought into his one. His and hers, I don't know. I thought Michael and Jamel just kind of did too much. I like Jamel. I'm a fan of Jamel. I just thought that particular show they did a little bit too much. But Dave, the sports god, I gotta get the Dave, the sports god Smith on here. He was on the show. Dave was cool. Dave was funny.
He was on before we were prime time.
Yeah, right. Dave was cool, and me and Dave, we still go at it on Twitter. The sports guy got me. That he hooked me in with the name, and then he actually was funny. So he's been at it for a while. Cleveland, I want to say all of this to say I cannot stand Colin Cowherd. I know he's a Northwest dude, but I cannot stand Colin Cowherd, and it's only got worse since he got married or since he got divorced. This show's only got married. Yeah, but I mean that's kind of you're right, SB. But when you get that promotion,
that's the prime time. That's the prime time on the East Coast.
Yeah, that's 6 o'clock show. When you get that promotion, that's like you don't say no to that promotion. No. But you're right. They probably never should have went there. But when they call you, you kind of got to take that show. You got to take it and say, okay, well, let's make it work. Let's do what we can. But you're right. They should have stayed his and hers. Colin Cowherd, man, he's the worst, dude. He is the worst. I can't listen to him because there's a couple of people I can't listen to, and I'm not going to mention the other show. It's on Fox. I just can't listen to the other show. One show I mentioned is you said The Odd Couple with Chris Broussard and Rob Parker. Like that's another show I can listen to. I like that show too. That's on Fox now. The Odd Couple that comes on in the evening time. But Colin Cowherd, I mean his assertion. Like I can't listen to the show. But the one thing he talked about Deshaun Watson. You don't mortgage your future for a veteran quarterback, and that's a point he was making today. He happened to be making that point today, and he starts off by saying Peyton Manning, Matthew Stafford, and Tom Brady. Like there's how many teams? There's 32 teams in the NFL, Cleveland. 30 of those teams would mortgage your franchise for a Super Bowl win. The Denver Broncos got Peyton Manning. They went to 2 Super Bowls. Matt Stafford went to a Super Bowl. Tom Brady went to a Super Bowl. 30 of those 2 teams, 30 out of 32 teams would mortgage their franchise for a Super Bowl win in the next 2 years. 30 of them would do that. Oh, well, you can't look what Aaron Rodgers has. I mean, that's a freak accident. Russell Wilson and now Deshaun Watson. Again, these 30 of the 32 teams would do this. It's just frustrating, and he's on prime time. He just irks the shit out of me. I started all of this radio personalities and commentators just to make that point that I can't stand Colin. I gave him too much time on the show. You want to comment on Colin Cowherd?
Yeah, he's number 2 on my list, and the number 1 being that other guy that doesn't like LeBron James and called Troy Aikman homosexual years ago. So, do I have to connect the dots with that? His name is Skip Bayless.
I mean, Skip is who Skip is. I got past the point of not even giving him. Did he say Troy Aikman was a homosexual?
Oh, ask Troy what he thinks about Skip Bayless. He said it was in Dallas. It did not go over well.
It didn't go over well. I mean, yeah, I got Skip. Skip he's a prime time antagonist. But yeah, I say all that to say, man.
Colin's not great. I mean, I don't claim him because he's from the Northwest at all. He's
right, and that's
one of those guys.
That's why I tried to give him a chance.
And then when he was going after Dominicans, I mean, remember when Jose Batista almost had to go on the show and beat him up, right?
No, I don't. I mean, I try to give I try to give Dog a chance because he was from the Northwest, but I mean, just time after time, he's like, man, I can't do it. Shut up, please. Like, please, dude, shut up.
Colin is number 2 on my list.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay. And you say the number 1 guy. I mean, I thought you were gonna go to the number 1 guy, and I'll mention.
Well, I mean, the number one guy is Jason Whitlock, but I haven't heard from him in a while. So
no, he still do a show. And
well, that's number one. Yeah, that's like
I got to the point where
that Mount Olympus of I don't like you, but in just regular layman's terms, yeah, Skip Bayless is 1 and Colin Cowherd is 2.
Yeah, your guy. Okay, I'm trying to do something for you right now. I'm trying to do something right now, fans. What the heck? But yeah, that's who I thought you were talking about at first when you were saying that the number 1 guy is you didn't like. It was that guy. Yes. Okay. Cool. Come on, let me in. Let me in. See the oh my goodness. I can't get into my fantasy squad. I can't get into my fantasy squad.
That's probably for the best, Cam. You might not really want to get into that.
Huh?
I said that's probably for the best. You probably don't really actually want to get into that. So
why is that?
Your fantasy football squad? Is that what you said?
Yeah. Why?
Oh, because you're not actually.
Huh?
You're not actually in the playoff.
Excuse me?
You're outside of the playoffs right now at present. If the season ended today, you wouldn't make the playoffs. So you probably don't want to look at your team with any type of, positive light on it. I'm just saying.
Are you have you checked out the standings recently?
Yeah, you're nowhere near playoff contention.
Again, have you checked out the standings recently? That's what I asked.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at it together because I'm not sure if you're seeing what I'm seeing.
Okay. Are you Mr. Nuff?
Huh?
Are you Mr. Nuff? Show Nuff?
Show enough. You see where we are.
Okay.
You see where we are. Now, fans, I'm gonna have to. There's gonna be some rule
season
changes.
ended today. You wouldn't make the playoffs then.
There's gonna be some rule changes because I just want to point this out. How does the man who scored the most points in the league not be in playoff contention?
Well, you see that won loss column, that first column. That's how that happens.
Again, there's gonna have to be some rule changes.
Yeah, I mean your style points don't mean anything to anybody else. It's all about wins and losses.
Again, because I got the most points in the league.
Nobody
Like
cares.
the most points in the
How's
league.
that translate to victories?
And again, my team start out. Okay, let's look at my squad. Let's take a look at my squad. Let's kind of analyze a little bit of what happened here. Justin Herbert with the broken thumb. Jamar Chase fell on his back, right? He was out of game. Kenneth Walker.
Man, nobody wants to hear about your injuries. Nobody wants to hear about your heartaches and pains, Cameron.
Joe Mixon his
football season. We all have the same thing. We could all do the exact same thing.
Joe Mixon is not being
come down the line and talk about what happened, what went wrong, who got hurt, who got into a car crash, who punched his wife in the face.
Man, we're looking at
but we're not going to do that. Who cares?
Joe Mixon hasn't been who we thought he was. I'm actually looking for a trade for Joe Mixon. Rashad White, Nico Collins, Josh Palmer goes down. He gets hurt, right? Devon Acne, he goes out with IR. You see that? He is wondering, is he coming back or not? That's what we have to. I've been riding with Trooper Hubbard. That's what I've been riding with. So my Bills, it looks like I got to get a kicker this week because Gay had a week off. So I've had some challenges that I've overcome, but in all still, Jim Rome C. Weber. That was funny. I think that was staged though, bro.
And Jim Everett, I don't think so. Jim Everett was about to beat that dude up. That was hilarious. When he called him Chris Everett the third time and didn't think he was really going to do anything.
Right. He's like, what are you going to do about it, Chris?
Oh boy. Yeah.
So yeah, man, looking at this, I've had some issues that I had to overcome. All in still, let's go back to this here. Let's go back to this league standing. All in still, even with all the issues I've had, I lead the league in points, Cleveland. That's what you're failing to realize. Let's see what you're doing. Let's see what you're doing. Because you're only a game out of you're within a game's reach. As soon as I win this week, I'm in the playoffs. Who you got? CJ? Oh, he went and got CJ. Did you draft CJ or you picked him up off the waiver wire?
Drafted him, homie. Drafted him.
Zay Flowers. How's he working out? How's Zay Flowers? Is that he just got accused of beating up his girlfriend after they lost?
No, it wasn't him.
No, that was a dude in Jacksonville.
Why you trying to put
Travis Etienne, Jameer.
What's going on here?
Jamar Gibbs. He finally showed up on Sunday, huh? He finally showed up for you.
Sure did.
Isaiah Pacheco, how's that working out for you?
It's working out so.
Shaheed, how's he doing for you? Charbonnet, he's not on the trade blocks yet.
Not yet.
Carter, he's not on the trade block.
He's coming back. Oh, about I see you trying to skip right past that one.
How's he working out for you?
Well, we about to find out next week, won't we?
I mean,
he's about to be healthy again. Concerned? Should be.
No, not at all. Again, fans, this is life of fantasy football, right? I am again one game out of the playoff, and
you're 4-6. You're 4-6.
One game out of playoff
today, you wouldn't be in the playoffs.
Well, good thing it don't start today. Good thing I got another month of action, right? Good thing I got another month of action. Who do I play this week? Oh, you got NWA. So what are you going to do this week? Are you going to lose to NWA? Because I need you to knock them out. I need them to knock them out. And if you decide to lose, I'm going to be a game away from you. I got Tony's team.
You're going up against Tony. You know you can't beat Tony Sam. I don't think you've ever beat Tony Sam the entire time we've been playing.
What are you talking about? Who's he got? I'm not worried about this guy to begin with.
Okay.
Dak Prescott.
Okay. Keep going.
Lockett. Bijan. They're not playing Bijan. On Aaron Jones, has he played 3 games this year? Andrews, Montgomery. Ooh, that's a tough one. Pollard, Trevor Lawrence, Cole Kmet. Come on, you think I'm worried about Cole Kmet and Dalvin Cook? Come on, this is an easy win this week. This is an easy win this week, fans. Tony, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you, Tony. Easy win this week.
Oh, wow.
Easy win this week. And are you going to lose? Are you going to lose or are you going to win? What are you doing this week? Because whatever you do this week,
I'm going to win, but I lightweight want to make a side bet on that that matchup against Tony.
I mean, you
haven't beat Tony yet.
I don't know about that.
You've never beat Tony.
I don't know about that. Again, do you see how many points? I scored more points in the league.
You just can't beat. Can you pull up Tony's team again real quick?
I got more points, Cleveland. This is what you're ignoring. You're ignoring the fact that I got more points scored than anybody in the league.
Scroll down. Okay, so Tyreek Hill is going to be in for Michael Pittman. Okay, so Pittman and Lockett.
Oh, look at you. Oh, no. You coaching now? You making moves?
And now Tony Pollard is going to be in for Bijan. Okay.
Now you're making moves for him.
Okay, and then scroll down.
Carolina. Cole Kmet. You think I'm worried about Cole Kmet?
Scroll down a little bit. Oh, and then Philly's defense is going to be in, and Justin Tucker to go kicker. Okay. Yeah, you're not going to win this, guys. You're not going to win this one.
Who'd you pick? Philly got KC. They might not have any points. You know, KC's going to put up 21 points.
Yeah, you're not going to win this one, man.
Okay. All right. So now you're making moves for your other opponent. Now you're making moves for the opponent. That's what
I don't know what he's going to do, but if it was me, that's what I would do, and then you wouldn't win that one.
Let me look at my team. Let me see. Do I need to make any roster moves? I need to pick up a kicker. I need to pick up. Let me check it. Let me check the waiver wire now.
You get that Buffalo defense. Okay, that Buffalo defense.
Let me check the players right now. I need to. Let me look at the players.
Right no now. Comment on my Buffalo defense.
Okay. Jake Elliott. Oh, I go get Jake Elliott right now.
Go get Jake.
Jake, free agent, pick up. Okay. Come on, baby. I need you. Add Jake. Yeah, add Jake. I don't need to drop nobody. Done dealy. Okay. So Jake Elliott. So I know I'm gonna get some points or field goals in the big game. So let me check out my roster one more time. Look how easy that was. Boom. Jake, you're in the game. You're in the game, Jake. Okay, Jake, you're in the game. Buffalo, they play the Jets. They play the Jets. Okay, that's for sure points. Let me see who else I can pick. Who else? Okay, Herbert, you're in. You got Green Bay. Baltimore's. You got Amon-Ra. You're doing your thing. Kenneth, straightforward, big dog. Stop cutting around. I mean, I'm Joe Mixon. Who I got? What's going on with Acme? Are you back this week or not? What are you doing? Are you ready to play? Limited practice on Wednesday. Woo! Layoff is already done. He might. Oh, let me. All right. Okay. Enough of fantasy football. Enough of the fantasy football for you guys, fans. Enough of the fantasy football for you, because you see, Acme comes back, it's all over. You already know that.
Yeah, that sounds great. And like you say, you lead the league in points, but you're not leading the league in victories.
Again, I'm a game of whatever you do this week, I'm in the playoffs next week. After I beat Tony, and either you lose or who you play again, they lose. I'm in the playoff action. That's all it takes. It takes a lot.
You want to outside looking in, already scoreboard watching. Why don't you just worry about what your team is doing? First and foremost, you need to get a victory to even be in the conversation. And if you don't get a victory over Tony's team, which you've never beaten, then you're not even in the conversation. So I don't even really see why you're going down that path.
Again, you beat NWA
for me. Talk playoff talk when you in the playoff conversation, homie.
You beat NWA for me, and we're all good. How about that? We're all good. Cleveland, Shakur Stevenson fights Edwin De La Santo this weekend. Tomorrow night, actually. we get some Thursday night action, boxing action. What do you think about that? You tuning? Excuse me, are you tuning in?
I'm so sorry, Cam. When did you say that fight was taking place?
Tomorrow night.
Exactly.
Oh, what's that mean? No, you can't watch boxing on Thursday night?
When have you ever heard of a big boxing fight on a Thursday night? It's never happened.
We talked about it already.
Big fights don't happen on Thursday nights, Cam.
What did you tell me?
Why are you talking to me about it?
What did you tell me about
no,
the
Cam, I don't recall Floyd Mayweather Jr. ever fighting on a Thursday. Not ever. Not one time.
What did you tell me about Stephen Ross when the FS1 went to Miami? What did he say? What the
F1
F1
more money for that one event that he made the entire football season.
FS1 is in Las Vegas this weekend. Okay, FS1 is in Las Vegas this weekend, so everything got rearranged and shut down. So yes, Shakur Stevenson fighting tomorrow night. Will you be tuning in?
No, I'm not watching that.
It's a championship fight. No. It's a championship fight. Did you see Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou a couple weeks ago?
I did not see it. I heard he rocked.
Knocked him down. In closing, Cleveland, tell me why Ron Washington is the right guy for the California Angels of Anaheim.
Been through it all, seen it all. Don't know if he can actually change what's going on over there, but has a very calming effect. But so did Madden. So did Sosha. They just haven't been able to hit on some of those. Manager can only do so much, right? You can only do so much of this and, making signals and calls and pitches. But I'm happy that Ron Washington got a second chance. I mean, he kind of lost his job telling on himself, which is weird. I mean, after going, back-to-back World Series with the Rangers.
Well, maybe he can keep Shohei. Maybe he can keep Shohei the most exciting guy in the
game. No, that's not going to be a thing. Shohei's gone. You didn't hear?
No, I didn't actually.
Oh yeah, Shohei's gone.
I didn't hear that. Maybe he can keep Shohei. Maybe this is the signing to keep Shohei. Maybe
Cam,
he's a signing. Maybe he's a signing. What, did he go to Seattle? He didn't sign with the Angels?
Shohei's gone. Okay. Yeah, Shohei's not coming back to the Angels.
Oh, well, don't speak too soon. We've seen stranger things happen, haven't we?
Well, I know you didn't hear it yet, but yeah.
Cleveland, let's give Cleveland a round of applause for his participation tonight. Fans, I want to give you guys keep it going. Give yourself a round of applause for your participation tonight. Each and every week we end the show with a quote. Tonight, the quote I'm going to leave you guys with is, never look down on anyone unless you're helping them up. One more time for the people in the back, Cleveland. Never look down on anyone unless you're helping them up. And that's from Mr. Operation Push himself, Jesse Jackson. One more time. Never look down on anyone unless you're helping them up. That's Mr. Jesse Jackson. What's that?
I say he's never played fantasy football, clearly.
Cleveland, you keep talking this mess, big guy. I just need you to win. Do your job and you win. Either you win or you'll be behind me next week. How about that? So put the pressure on you. Either you win this week or you'll be behind me next week.
Yeah, you can't even get past Tony's team. So why am I not worried about you? You ain't nothing to worry about.
Thank you guys for your time, and we look forward to joining us next week, fans. As always, thank you for making our voice your choice. Have a good day.